shortly after I arrived back, and what we had decided to do was get caught up on the prior audits, and then moving forward was to possibly consider to go out to RFP and have this done, just to at least, you know, in a more current audit, to have something listed on there.
From the standpoint of borrowing, which we have on a regular basis with Ann and we'll be looking at for potential bond issue, what do lenders, how do they weight this adverse opinion compared to?
I've spoken with at least one banker, you know, who had called, you know, just say, tell me what this is all about. So can you explain it to him? He's like, oh, he said, that's really not a big deal. He said, you know, I can look at their general fund. I know their general fund is good. I can look at all their other funds and you know, that is what they really focus on. The general fund or the fund financial statements is really what you and most people are focused on in terms of the financial well-being of the county. The governmental activities rolls in a lot of other stuff. Kind of pulls it away from the budgetary basis and rolls in, you add in your fixed assets as opposed to expensive fixed assets as you buy them, for example, in the general fund or your capital improvement funds. That is essentially another basis of accounting where you look at those, all the financial assets. So you look at, you know, the value of the fixed assets or the cost less depreciation. You look at all these other liabilities, so to speak, where well, reduce your fund balance, but, you know, again, it's these liabilities aren't anything you're going to have to write a check for. You're just recognizing them as liabilities. And
they're not really fully quantifiable because we don't know the tenure of the benefits or.
Correct. So, I mean, and when they developed these standards, there was good reasoning in doing it because at the time there were a lot of governments out there that had their own pensions that were, you know, underwater. So it made sense for, you know, for a large city that's running their own pension fund to have to show that liability because, you know, in essence, they are writing that check, but, you know, your main PERS and like the health insurance is different because it's a, you know, it's cost sharing, it's a group plan. So, you know, theoretically, you do share that liability and maybe you do pay for it indirectly through increased premiums or increased employer contributions, but, you know, main PERS is never gonna come say, hey, you know, write us this $2 million check.
Commissioner, do you have a question?
No, I need to know the sound wasn't going through on the feed, so I hope maybe
we're good now?
Yes, we're all set now.
Thank you very much. Okay.
So that's the GASB 75 and the adverse opinion. It does say, you know, other than this one little piece, the financial statements are good and in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, but that is why you have that one adverse opinion with respect to that one piece.
Are there any questions from the commission regarding either 21 or 22? Now that we've got, I'm sure we've got more.
Yeah, I got more for more, but yeah, as far as that part goes, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
okay.
I think that's helpful.
Okay. Moving on, we have had a couple findings over the years. Working on Scott's done a good job since he's come in to change the processes and get things caught up. Mm-hmm. But there was some issues that existed at the time that caused these findings. I mean, the biggest one is what got you behind in the first place is that reconciliations weren't being kept up. So, and then number one, that's just you know, good practice to always, you know, reconcile number one, your bank accounts, reconcile your subsidiary ledgers to your main set of books. But as everybody knows, that got behind. Once that gets behind, it becomes increasingly difficult to catch up. Right. You know, especially when you're 2 or 3 years behind to go back and correct past errors, past mistakes. So, you know, as I said, we're getting caught up. 23 is in process, is in pretty good shape. So we expect 24, once we get into that, is going to be in very good condition. But there were issues, so that's the findings. At this point, I believe there's nothing going wrong. No, those findings have been addressed, but they're still here because they were they existed at the time of the period that we're under audit, so.
Does your, in terms of reconciliation, obviously you need it on the annualized basis. Is there a kind of gold standard as to how often reconciliation should be?
I would say monthly, to do a financial presentation to for the treasurer to present to the commissioners on a monthly basis, and everything should be reconciled at that time, so that you're not having to go back. I mean, it's, number one, it's one of your primary internal controls to prevent, misappropriation, whatnot, just to make sure, as a best practice. So I would say at the least monthly.
Definitely.
Reconcile your bank accounts, reconcile your subsidiary ledgers, so.
Thank you.
And then moving on to another item, just I'd say concerning trend with some of your funds, particularly the jail fund. And again, this is not just a Penobscot County issue, this is a state of Maine. I think every county, I don't know if there's a county that doesn't have this issue, but the jail fund is getting to the point where you're starting to see deficits in that fund. So 2021, at the end of 2021, the jail fund had a balance of $462,000 in it.
To the negative?
No, to the positive.
Okay.
At the end of 2022, that balance had gone negative, negative 62,000. So that was a deficit of $525,000 for the year. And that did include the general fund contributing $7.6 million to the jail fund as it was. So you're looking at approximately 8.1 is what it would have needed to cover that deficit. So that's a trend. As of 23, I'm not sure where we're at, but I can see that deficit has grown in 23, and I'm sure into 2024. Scott could speak more on where it is currently, Scott or Glenn, but there is, we're seeing the trends. So, and there's a couple. You can mask the deficit by saying, okay, we have the jail fund owes the general fund X amount of dollars. So that shows as an asset on the general fund side. But if that's never going to be paid back, you're artificially inflating your fund balance on your general fund. So definitely recommend to watch that. And if you see that anything that's showing up as on the general fund, they do from the jail, probably the jail fund does not have the capacity to pay that back. So you should just zero it out and write it off as a transfer, as opposed to hope that someday, the general fund is going to be whole or solvent and can pay back the general fund.
I think from our experience had been that the state had reconsidered their allocations to jails in a flat amount, as you may be aware of, about $20.4 million annually that go to all 14 of the county jails. But there were supplementals up until about 2021. The state ceased providing those supplementals, and I think a lot of jails are now facing the reality that the costs are continuing to go up, and the funding is flat from the state. In fact, we face a problem where there may be a $4 million shortfall in next year's budget over what was provided with, there was $20.4 million, that's the base, and then the governor added $4 million for medically assisted treatment. That has only been approved for the first year of this budget, so we're down $4 million in the second year right now.
So I mean, I don't have to tell you that it's a concerning trend, and that everybody, everybody's dealing with this. Like you said, 14 counties fighting for the same.
With growing population.
Same pot of money.
We are the ER room for the law enforcement community at all levels, and we can't say no to somebody that comes to us.
No, it is. It's a financial burden. Many years ago, I remember the jail fund used to do fairly well by housing federal prisoners. I think that's gone away.
Yeah, and then some, yeah.
And then, I mean, and of course, you're,
Complete reversal and probably a little, much worse, especially once boarding came into effect. Again, just for a quick preview, as you look into, so halfway through 22 is when things really started to go south, and that's when we were mandated by the state to start boarding, or we're gonna lose our license. But again, due to lack of continued state funding through this whole process, that funding gap, which as the chair pointed out, supplemental used to help take care of, along with a little bit of a county surplus every now and then, would help balance things. What I project you're gonna see in 23, and maybe you've already had a peek at some of the figures with it, at least Michael has, is a substantial growth in that. I'm guessing to the tune of probably close to 2 million
in that deficit, yeah.
in the deficit, and that's gonna grow to 3 in 24, and currently we're passing that in 25. And all of this, as you said, artificially really leads to that AR that needs to be, I think, addressed as we move forward.
Right, I mean, you know,
And then it also, because that's how we address the issue to begin with, is we identify it. And as we're coming and closing up our audits, and we're catching up on our audits, it certainly, substantiates that. And so the commissioners have a plan to address that in the very near future. We have to. As you know, it goes right back to your cash flow, because when we're funding from January to September, basically, and then we have what is now gonna be could possibly turn into a rather large negative fund balance overall. That's our, even though we have a decent size fund balance or in the Fund 3 for the escrow accounts, any substantiation for that now has been eaten away. So this has really gotten to the point where we can't sit back and wait for the state to help us out. And maybe this alerts them, some people to the overall problem and help us address it. I don't know.
Sometimes, they gotta see the worst in order
Yeah,
to
but we
say,
need to
they really can't do
something. We need to take that first step.
But,
Yeah.
but I mean, to look at your 22 statements, I mean, things look good. You're sitting on a pile of cash, but a lot of that's ARPA. It was still sitting there at that point in time. Jail fund is not in terrible shape. I mean, yes, it looks like you had a bad year, but, at this point, that wasn't nearly as bad as the next 2 years.
Well, that thought too, you get to 24.
Yeah, so, I mean, and it comes down to a couple things. I mean, that needs to be, the fund balance needs to be addressed. So essentially, you're gonna pull it out of your general fund, which is gonna decrease your fund balance in your general fund. Definitely affects your budgeting, because if you don't have that fund balance to use as a budgetary offset, then you might have it on paper, but if the corresponding asset is a receivable that's not going to get paid, then again, you just need to bite the bullet and write that off, so you really know, this is what we got to work with.
Is there a prudent method that could be used to retire that debt? I mean, it's substantial enough that doing it in 1 year could be a very disconcerting.
I think the best is just to admit it, and, as the commissioners say, this really isn't good. The jail fund has no capacity to ever make this back. I mean, and just because you write it off doesn't mean that, if the jail has a banner year, you could say, hey, remember 2025 when we wrote that off? Let's transfer some of that back to the general fund and compensate them for what they lost.
The legislature and or the governor choose to fund appropriately the jail system as they agreed to back in the start of 08-09, and a nice little windfall comes our way, then we can certainly reverse some things or change the game plan. But for now, we need to address this now.
I think it would be just, I mean, if I don't know how many million that is sitting on the books today, but
it's not good.
It's not right, but you could say, I think maybe we could pay half back someday, but I think you're doing yourself a disservice by keeping that on the books, because the biggest thing I think is budgetary. When you look and you say, well, this is our fund balance we have to work with, so let's, set our tax rate at this and use so much in fund balance, and then really that's not there because the asset was no good.
So there's two parts, I guess, to my question. One, which you've addressed. The second is, this is an ongoing problem. So how would you be prepared today to give us some advice as to how to address the situation going on? Because until we can make contingencies to correct some of the issues, be it more state funding or reducing our outboarding, we're gonna continue to be faced with this
Right,
challenge.
so I mean, the first part is easy, I mean, the existing debt, I mean, that's, you could, I would suggest you take a vote to do that, you know, to agree to show that as a transfer to the jail fund rather than a receivable.
What's currently showing prior to 25,
For my, so we're working on 23, of course, right now. You know, if there is, whatever is outstanding as of 23, maybe take it by a year. And say, okay, you know, whatever exists as of 12/31/23, we're gonna release as a transfer through 12/31/24, and then, you know, you can monitor it going forward from.
do you anticipate 23 will be done prior to us needing to approve our budget for 26?
When is that?
November?
Yeah, November, it's usually the second week in November.
Yeah, I was,
Right
we
after.
were hoping by late October.
So it would be cutting close, but you'd have at least a draft.
Probably
more
around,
than
yeah, we have
likely.
some numbers for you.
Yeah, because I was gonna recommend that when you do, maybe when we have the draft, because you wanna make the entry for the final
Right,
version, when he has the draft done, when Chester Kearney has the draft done, that we can set up a Zoom and he can, Tim can, or Michael can present the situation, and then at that time, you can take the vote on whether.
I think it would be healthy for the budget committee to be advised of that this year, because
Yep.
we've just got to decide internally what years we're going to write off during this budget cycle. And if you feel that 23 will be at a completion level that we could include that, I think that's probably the
Yeah, sure.
appropriate.
sure we'll be at a point where we have the number where we can say, okay, this is what is sitting out there that you,
Right,
we would suggest that you
right.
write
And if that
off.
comes close to what's on the books now, or the work that's been accomplished to date, they're gonna wanna know, like even up to today, what is the number today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't think the budget committee needs a whole audit, but I think maybe we could get a 5-minute Zoom at the beginning of it, and Tim could just do a presentation of the budget
No, I
committee.
agree.
I don't think they've ever had an audit presentation at the budget committee.
No,
We've got a lot of new faces there, so it would be
Yeah,
helpful.
say, I've never met with them.
Right, I think that would be helpful for them.
Yeah.
You may be aware that we have 15 members. Each district appoints 4 elected officials and 1 legislator. So it would be helpful for the legislators to be engaged so they understand the impact of this.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of benefits, I think, too.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good idea, so.
Okay.
Beyond that, you know, moving forward, you know what you're facing with deficits, and there's really only a couple ways to close those up. One, more taxes. Of course, you know, county taxes pass on to the towns, it's passed on to the citizens. The second one is reduced costs, which I think you do a good job with that, and I'm sure you're probably bare bones as it is in terms of where can you slash costs, but, you know, your costs are driven by your population, which isn't getting any smaller, and that's not to mention the need for new facility down the road too, which is a whole other issue, but again.
If we don't have the appropriate financials to
Right,
give to the
to-
lenders, it creates
Yeah,
an added cost to that project.
yeah, so,
So,
but,
okay. Well, I'm sure you've got more, but I just want to say I appreciate your willingness to be part of explaining this, because I think it's important. And it's not just us. I mean, we've got colleagues in other counties. There are a significant number of new commissioners. And I think some of them are opening closet doors that are pretty scary right now.
there's a lot of skeletons hiding there.
So this will be healthy, and I serve as president for the association, and we've been trying to offer opportunities for educational sessions after our board meetings. So I may see if you or someone from the firm might be willing to come
Oh,
on.
certainly, yeah.
Okay. Please proceed with whatever you,
That was all I had for the big items, like I said, I didn't want to go through the financials in depth, because they're, again, this is older numbers, but I didn't want to hit the high points, but if there's any questions, concerns, definitely happy to address them.
overwhelming.
I guess my other question is related to the fact that due to our current operating year being a calendar versus a fiscal, we're not in alignment with the state. Do you have any observations on other entities that you've worked with that may depend on those type of funds that have changed their fiscal year?
Not really. I mean, I know, that's kind of I don't want to say it's a trend. I mean, I've seen a couple counties make the switch from the calendar year to the fiscal year. Aroostook County just did it. We don't audit Aroostook, so I can't speak from the side of the county, but I can speak from the side of a lot of the towns that in Aroostook. It was tough on the towns to do that switch to the fiscal year, because they essentially were bearing an 18-month tax bill.
Right.
And
that 9 or 10 month break turns into, basically
Right.
3, because you're advancing your cash flow 6 months.
Yeah.
So, in the whole timeline.
Right, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, it probably works well for the county, but it was really a struggle for a lot of towns to bear that additional cost within one tax year. And so we did see a lot of towns that had to have, fairly big tax increases, mill rate increases to cover that. You think it would all even out in the end, they're doing 18 months now, but then they gotta go back to 12. The bill never seemed to go down. So in the next cycle, when they were back to a 12-month, and again, so you're seeing, the towns are seeing increased county taxes from a couple areas, jails, they're needing to increase county budget due to jails, and then you throw the 18-month on top of it. That was some huge tax bills for, the Aroostook was good, they gave the towns a few different options to pay some, they did give them the option to pay the regular 12-month cycle and then the 6-month supplement down the road, but still it doesn't alleviate the fact that they have to pay it at some point, so.
Does it, in cases where you have been the auditor, has it helped mitigate some of their borrowing costs for TANs?
Not necessarily. It's more a factor when the towns have their money to pay. I mean, if you set the tax rate, towns pay, then that's your cash, your cash flow's coming in. But I'm seeing more need for TANs, but I don't know if that's just because of budget cycle or if it's other things. I think
The budget cycle, I would think, certainly adds to it if you're still on calendar. Even if we go to 6 months, there's still a projection that we probably need a little bit of a TAN because of the hole being so deep until we can recover. But if we don't, that TAN is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
And that, borrow money, it's not cheap.
Yeah,
especially today.
Right now, borrowing rates aren't cheap.
So. And I think that the jail costs, again, the unfunded mandates, the lack of proper funding, all coming, down from the state of Maine that just continues to hammer us. Whereas it used to be more of a hammer on the municipalities and it still is. Well, we're feeling that effect now, especially since the jails come aboard. Probably many counties like us try to keep things as minimal for too many years. It's that age-old adage of you can pay me now or you can pay me later. Again, fortunately for us, I think part of the news is the solution is that new facility where we can flip this gap now that the jail is causing and turn it into a bond payment, not dollar for dollar. Through both boarding will be a large contributor to that because we should not have to board from here. We should have actually the excess to maybe even return to receiving some revenues. And then with the operational efficiencies, it won't be dollar for dollar, but if you put a growth factor in there, it'd be pretty darn close. And again, we need, I need to work with Brendan. We need to identify this moving forward for the next 5 or 6 years to explain it to our municipalities to help them understand. We have to do something, and we can't cut $3 million worth of services. I think that would make them even angrier in the end.
So 10% of our budget.
Yeah.
And you add in the 3.5% COLAs, paid family leave, and some of the other drivers, and we're already probably closer to 18% as opposed to
Yep.
10.
Yep.
I guess the only other question I'm interested in, whether you'd be willing to comment, is internal borrowing. We were able to make use of the ARPA reserves for a couple of years towards our TAN, which reduced the outgo of, dollars. How does the auditing process view that internal?
No, there's no issue with that. As I said, 2022, you were sitting on a great deal of cash with ARPA and whatnot. So, there's no problem with that as long as, there's a mechanism to pay it back and so forth. But, as I said, with the jail fund, that mechanism isn't there. So internal borrowing is fine between funds. It's just make sure you have a means to reimburse that fund.
The other step we are engaged in is the commission appointed several people to a strategic plan committee, and we've not been able to assimilate all the information that they've needed yet, but we're getting closer, and we look forward to them doing a 3 to 5 year recommendation to us so that we're not just kind of wandering from budget to budget.
That's a good idea. County taxes are tough, it's, people don't feel as connected, I don't think, to
Right.
county as they do, when they go to town, they can go to town meeting, have their voice heard,
Right.
they're welcome here, but I think it's more of a sight out of mind.
There's no understanding of the scope of services.
Well, and that's the other thing I was gonna say is, they don't necessarily feel they're getting any services from
Right,
the county government.
right.
So I think, it's maybe a matter of education, communication, making people understand why their taxes are going up from the county side and, they may never agree to it, but if there's an understanding and, so that they know it's not just the county moving high. But
We've all recognized that deficiency,
Yeah.
and I think we're working on some steps to try and address it here.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, anything else for Mr. Poitras?
Thanks.
We appreciate your time.
thank you, happy to be here. So,
Yeah, thanks for coming down, Tim.
as I said, it's been a while and it's all good faces, so.
Yeah.
And Dan was in the treasurer seat, I think, last time I was here. Yeah, but
We gave him a promotion.
good.
So we appreciate it. We will be holding our convention later this month down at Sebasco Harbor. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but we'd be delighted to have you.
Yeah, just reach out and I'll see what we can do, or Scott can reach out.
Okay.
And then we'll keep you posted on 23, and once we have some numbers, we can arrange time with the budget committee, and at any time I come down, it's not that far, but.
We can zoom through,
so,
that'd be fine.
Yeah, so,
Good. We'll keep you posted on our budget committee meetings. And we also have a projection of another meeting with town administrators that will be, hopefully in the next 6 weeks or so, we'll be able to put something together.
Okay.
So we'll keep you posted to see if there's a possibility you could join us for
Join,
that too. All right.
all right, I appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day.
You too, thank you.
Nice day for drive back to
Yeah.
town.
It is, it wasn't a bad ride down.
Okay. At this point,
See ya.
we will, thank you. We
Okay,
will
thank
call on our friends from the UT. Does the UT get audited for our?
Yeah, separate.
They were separate audit, yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
I believe we're going to first hit on the important question of purchasing an office copier.
Yes,
Really?
Yeah. Unless you have something you.
our copy is fairly old and we've had 3 different maintenance calls on it in the last 6-7 months now. It's been there almost as long as I've been there. But, so we'd like to see an updated model. Tina's done what she can for research outside of the group that we've talked to and used regularly here. No real savings in going anywhere else, and we're satisfied with the group that we're working with now.
Okay. Do we have reserves?
I have When Drew deorganized, we got $138,000 in a check, and it, just as a placeholder, we put it into capital pave. We didn't know what we were gonna do with the money at the time. There's always road work, there's always 1,000 things to spend the money on, but, so that's in capital pave, it's 962-47. That's a little over $500,000 right now.
That should be enough for copy.
Hope so.
I think we could get a good one for that.
Service contract might be a little
Yeah.
iffy, but, you know, yeah.
But, yeah, so we just put that money in there as a placeholder. I think it'd be a good use of the money right now.
Okay.
Was it around 15,000 or so, which is?
No,
No, it's 56, 76.
Oh, great.
Probably this year's interest stuff.
Yeah.
So at this point, we have a request to approve a new copy for UT. Do we have any motions?
I move we approve.
Second?
Okay, and the money would come from,
The
Capital pave. 962-47.
Yeah.
62-47.
Work with Brenda and move it over to identify it as a copy to purchase or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the name of that account, George?
It's capital pave.
Apple Pay.
It's the money
much
we
paving in the UT?
we haven't finished out of this year's paving yet. We're gonna be doing that the last week of this month. I just spoke to the paving contractor yesterday.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to acquire a new copier for UT using funds from the capital pave account in the amount of 56.
76.
56, 76, 35.
And that does not cover the service contract.
It will, they're included, it'll be grouped in.
Well, that's included, right?
All right, so we have a motion, do we have further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous of those present. Merry Christmas.
We talked a lot about doing a tour with you guys, possibly the landfill, if we can set it up, but at least some of the wonderful scenes in the UT. We talked about renting a bus or a van and fit us all in and go for a day. You do a kind of a workshop on an odd Wednesday sometimes, like you did last week. October 8th would be that odd Wednesday. I didn't know if October 8th, we could start to line up a bus or a vehicle, or if you guys are all out of town.
That thing is fine with me. I mean, how much time do you think it would take for the UT tour? Because, I mean, if we want to make a full day of it, I think we could. If the tour goes to like mid-afternoon, I ran into Brian Henricks the other day. He invited us up to tour the monument sometime, and if we could tie it in with that, I don't know how much time he want for that, and we could even end the day with dinner in Millinocket to have that meeting with the group we want to meet with in Millinocket.
It'll take you that much time just to drive it.
That's the biggest problem, is the time spent driving.
Yeah, exactly.
But I figure we could do something down here. We've got some sheds you ought to see, some road work you ought to see. And then be in the Lincoln area thereabouts for lunch, and then do something after that. So there's a lot of places we could take you and show you stuff that we talk about in the UT all the time, and things we're gonna be spending money on in the near future.
I like that itinerary that Commissioner Trumbull mentioned.
So my complication on the 8th is that's Maine Municipals Convention.
Oh, is it the convention?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Day and night.
22nd would be a possibility if that was not,
There'll be snow up there
I'm not gonna be available.
Could be.
you're not available all day this one, 22nd.
I'm not gonna be available the 21st through the,
then. But doesn't have to be Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, the convention,
What about Tuesday
And-
the 7th?
either the 7th or the 10th of that week would be acceptable to me. It's a shorter ride for you if we pick you up in Medway too.
the 10th would be better, 7th.
10th is Friday, right?
10th is a Friday, yeah.
Friday.
You cannot do Fridays. Fridays are difficult for Commissioner. 14th,
Sure.
14th's good.
okay.
What's the 14th?
14th is a
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday? Yep. Why don't we try to set it, if you guys are all set for the 14th, Scott, I don't know if you'll be available.
Let's give him an alternate. Would the 16th be a possibility?
I was gonna say the 14th, I think I'm flying back from Florida, so
Okay.
I can't quite tell on this, but
Yeah, the 15th is commission.
Yep.
And the 16th, that would, if you want to do 2 days in a row, it's fine. So we can do the 8th, 9th, 14th to 16th.
No, we can't do the 8th or 9th, that's the MMA convention that I will be attending at least one day of, and I don't know which one it will be yet. I can try and get that information, but,
Are you planning on attending both days?
I don't know, because I've not seen their schedule yet. I mean, I don't have to, but I just don't know what's going on and what would be appropriate for me to.
Let's see, we could keep that 8th open if the schedule works out.
Yeah.
It's only September 3rd now, we have plenty of time.
But the preference would be either the 16th or the 20th. You said you're not available the 22nd.
I have people coming in from overseas
Gotcha.
that week.
I just want to be sure that I can set it up at the landfill, because if we can't,
Oh, yeah.
we'd skip that part of the tour and do some other stuff.
No,
Yeah, plenty
14th
to
looks,
save.
good. The 14th looks good for everyone, right?
No.
So Scott's traveling.
Scott's traveling, so the 16th would look good for everyone.
16th's fine too.
Let me check with MMA and get back to you by the end of the week. And see.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So that may free up either the 8th or 9th, which
Yeah, the 9th I'll be flying out, but
you are.
you guys can.
So that would give us the 8th or the 16th as possibilities right now.
The 16th sounds like the better day.
Does it?
Yeah. So we'll set something up. And who did you talk to at the monument?
Oh, Brian Hendricks is the
Yeah,
executive.
okay. We've got an appointment up there with another guy, one of the other operators.
Good.
Okay,
And that takes us down to deal with Dee and her, why don't we start with Dee and her contract? It's not on the agenda, but we have it, you have it in front of you, a hard copy of her annual contract. The price remains exactly the same as last year, so we're extremely pleased with Dee's service and her professionalism, and like to stay with her if possible. With everything that's going on with the TIF right now, she's been a huge help.
and we appreciate the work that you guys have done, but let us give you an idea of what we'd like to have happen too.
Last one.
So, do we have a motion regarding our contracts or services for the TIF program?
Like, do you have a copy of that?
I do.
Yeah, I move we approve.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Marshall to approve continuing the contract at the same rates for mainstream finance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Okay.
Now that we've got her on the
Yeah,
payroll.
now we got it, now we got her hooked.
I don't know if anybody from the Joe Mary Snowmobile Club is in waiting.
You have a name?
David Taylor?
Dave Taylor, or Jocko Bopane, or,
Rachel or David Taylor?
There's Dave Taylor.
I got Dave Taylor.
there's Dave.
Mr.
I'm
Taylor,
here.
welcome to the meeting.
Nice to meet you all.
There's Dave.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Well,
Dave's been good to work with. He and his wife filled out the application and called me several times with questions about the process. This is the first time they've asked us for any grant money at all, this particular snowmobile club. They went through a big change, probably stepping on your toes a little.
That's all
but
right.
They went through a big change. They had the same president for many years, and that president moved off. So they've got a new committee, and they're enthusiastic. I've met with them. Commissioner Marshall and I met with them, and they've been great. I look forward to seeing what we can do to help
Hey
them.
Dave, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear it now?
I can't hear Dave,
Yeah,
no.
I've got him now. Have you been able to access the county website?
I am on the Zoom meeting now.
Okay, have you got communication here?
He can hear him.
He can hear
I can hear
us.
him on the phone.
He can hear us? Why don't we have Dee present then while we're trying to get voice from
Okay,
Dave?
Dave, why don't you hang tight, Dave?
So as
Okay,
said,
Dee.
the Joe Marion Ryder Snowmobile Club is requesting $326,250. This request is to upgrade the current trail groomers with 2 used, much newer models and the necessary equipment. They groom 146 miles of trails, all within the unorganized territories. The current equipment is 20-plus years old and has required large amounts of maintenance, resulting in expensive repairs. The age of the equipment is making it difficult to get the necessary parts, make timely repairs, do the upgrades. These upgrades will provide 2 reliable groomers and drags. The club has come to the request with 10% down, so the total project is $362,000. They're asking for $326,000. The committee discussed this thoroughly and they unanimously approved the full funding request. Several key factors that influenced the decision was this is the club's first ever request for financial support of the TIF district. They've historically been able to self-fund their operations and necessities. Of course, this is a large purchase and I don't believe there's an organization or a club out there that could fund 2 new groomers on their own with that expense. The committee quickly recognized that all 146 miles of the trails maintained are within the UT, making 100% approval of the request granted. With the growing membership base and better maintained, safer trails, the club's poised to attract more riders to the area. And these trails also are part of the network that connect Greenville, Millinocket. So if you've got accessible trails, more people are going to try to go to the other areas. It just makes sense to help in this fund, so.
Are these part of the ITS system?
They have some ITS trails in their system, but no, they're not all 146 miles of ITS.
And this is kind of comparable to what we've done for some of the other clubs like Matagamon?
Yes.
Yes.
Matagamon, we helped them with a groomer, we've helped them with drags, Millinocket. So all around this group, we've helped them in Penobscot County. This is the only group in that region that we haven't.
In this group, their trails are all fall within the unorganized territory.
In Penobscot County, exactly. Yeah.
What happens to the current equipment? Have they shared that?
They asked me if because what they're gonna wind up doing is selling 2 of their oldest groomers, which don't have a great deal of value. And they asked me, should we throw that into the pie? Should we throw it in the mix if we sell them? Do we give you guys back the money, or how do you wanna work it? And at that age and that value, they could use that money to keep their club going.
And fund, repairs on these new
Well,
programs.
that would be my desire, is that they set a reserve account up to put in for repairs to the new groomers or.
That's what they've done. They've started, and they've started their own escrow account, if you will, for things they need in the future. And part of that is the way they develop their revenue is they get paid to maintain some of that ITS stuff. They get paid for that. They do fundraising events now. They've got 3 or 4 ways that they want to try to get a reserve account to keep the club going. They have 100 and,
They have, 100
200
members.
I can't remember, 218 members?
Yeah,
Wasn't it quite
it was a
bad?
crazy number, yeah.
Yeah.
Members.
A lot of new
So-
members joined over the last couple of years, so it's
Do they get municipal revenue, like in Bangor, when we take snowmobile registration, most of that money goes to the Paul Bunyan Snowmobile Club, the local club. So do any municipalities fund their club,
Our ATV club, all of our ATV clubs come to us for municipal funding
Yeah.
through that state program.
Okay.
And Boulder Matagamon Snowmobile Club, I think they get the money as well. But this club that I'm aware of, if they do, they don't use us as the agent. Yeah.
So the funds for those registrations in the UT goes to a county account, is that?
Us, it comes here
Okay.
through pay mode, it comes into us.
Okay.
I think it's $6 a sled, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I guess my only caveat thinking forward is that we would ask for maybe an annual report from them, whether it's to Mainstream or to the commission. I think it would be appropriate to identify what their reserves are and expenses
Yep.
that were incurred. So
That's something we can put in the agreement, in the grant agreement. In the agreement that we send out, we can detail that for each and every project. It's not a cookie cutter agreement.
Would that also include recommendation that the money they put into a capital improvement fund or capital maintenance fund for their equipment?
Yeah, they have to report their financial to us at the end of every year, what they did, what they're doing. Yeah, the same as giving us a copy of their budget.
I've been to 2 of their meetings, and they're incredibly well organized, and they've never come to us before because of the previous chairman preferred to handle everything in-house. The advance that we're looking to provide for them, I gotta take these out because I'm getting double, triple feedback here. The monies we're looking to credit them with today for this program, I think is really gonna benefit the community up there. And when we went to their meeting, George and I went to 2, George has been to 1. They are very well organized, as I said, but they report in detail everything, more so than any other group I've ever seen. So I give them credit for their organizational skills, and I certainly welcome this application.
Do you wish to make a motion?
Yeah, I wish to make that we approve the TIF recommendation for the Joe Mary Riders.
For 326.
325,000, is it?
326, 250.
Yeah, 362.5.
326.
326, yeah.
250. The full project is
Yeah.
362.5, but they've got 30,
Yeah, the total, yeah.
36, 250 they're putting in, so.
This is not to question their fiscal responsibility, but I think going forward, it's helpful for us to add that component to our grant application so that we're getting, a pulse on how things are going.
So the next time somebody comes and wants to borrow or get a grant, we already know what they've done up to this point to help themselves or hurt themselves.
I agree. I would second it. I would say, I think this makes sense. It's, recreational tourism is big. They have over 200 members, but this attracts people from outside of the state. And it's a great, the wintertime in that part of the county, it depends on the snowmobile. It was a few years ago, Northern Maine was one of the few places that had snow. People coming all over the country
Oh, yeah?
to come snowmobile here, so it's got to be done.
We have a motion, we have a second for 326,250 for the,
Sorry,
that's okay?
did you want the caveat in there with the amendment with that they take from the sale of the old equipment to put into an escrow account?
I
Or
think
just trust them to?
They'll report it to us.
We'll
It
get-
sounds like they'll report it.
the reporting
to us on
mechanism
financial.
is.
We need the financial reporting mechanism in the agreement.
Yeah.
For 3 or 4 years. We can't be in for eternity here.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea for any grant. Maybe it's, anything over, 100,000, 200,000, something like that should probably be a consideration.
We should have at least 3 years worth of
Get an annual review, yeah.
review.
Before that, just one other question on when we get applications. We got a great grid of a couple meetings about the different pockets, how we're trying to spend the TIF money and what's left in funds. If we could see the balance of what's there and what's gonna be there after we allocate these funds to, where the TIF account
I think just an
stands.
update on that
Yeah.
spreadsheet
Yeah.
that you provided.
Which part this is coming from.
That would be great. Okay, so we have a motion, which includes now the amendment for financial reporting on an annualized basis.
Okay.
Everyone's good with that?
For 3 years, yeah.
With the possibility that we may need to see, but I understand.
We gotta put a limit on it, that's all.
Minimum of 3 years. Okay. Anything further? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. Thank you for your work on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Did you hear that?
The next thing on the agenda is to review the recommendations that we've gone over several here with you guys. and we had our legal review, and we presented those to you during our workshop. No decisions were made during the workshop. However, today we're here trying to see if we could get a vote to accept the recommendations of the TIF committee. Dated May 6th, I think, right? May 6th, yeah.
It's right after the,
So the highlighted items say, see attached to memorandum dated August 18th, 2025 from Rudman and Winchell.
Yeah, yeah, we presented that to you last time. It was just a basic memo stating that the same facts that are on this paper from their point of view, from their review of the TIF program.
Second item, the committee recommends adopting the changes to the Penobscot County TIF district application for funding that were proposed in the August 18th memorandum by Rudman and Winchell. And then the other item is, in the TIF committee meeting today, August 25th, 2025, the committee reviewed the contract with Eastern Maine Development Corp. dated November 6th, 2025. The committee voted unanimously not to continue to use TIF funds to support this economic development contract. The review could find little or no positive impact for the unorganized territory residents over the last 7 years. So those are the comments related to these recommendations. I believe we voted last week not to continue that contract, or did we?
We didn't vote.
no vote, just a lot of discussion, but yeah.
Yeah, so I can comment on that.
Please.
Most of these seem to be guidelines for how they're gonna operate, except when you get to the last one, it's an actual, it seems like it should be separate from this, a bigger discussion as far as I can see. I generally agree with it, I've always questioned funding that different. I think it has any impact, it would help that whole region, but to go from what we've been funding it for 7 years to zero, I would be in favor of ramping down the funding to get to zero, not completely eliminating it, and maybe, look at the amount that comes from the PILT and the amount that comes from the TIF, and get the TIF funding down to zero in over the next 3 or 4 years, but to phase it out.
Yeah.
It just seems like we're paying, TIF is funding, I think, 75% of that right now, so it's, and I know there's a transition in the person in that position right now, so I think that meeting we're gonna have hopefully soon with the regional partners up there, I think we should wait till we have that meeting, just make a determination on that.
So take that out of the list of recommendations.
As far as I'd like
Deal with
to
that
wait till we have that
separately.
meeting.
Yeah.
So we'll
makes
take
sense.
no action on that, but we're not accruing any costs at this point because.
Yeah, we're still renting the room up there. Till that contract is up on November 6th, we still owe EMDC their contract. And we're renting a room, we're just not paying a salary.
Okay, so we're ready to remove MDC.
Yeah.
That we're also paying for with our tax dollars.
Right.
So this,
Just,
yep,
we can pull that out of the recommendations so that we'll bring that back to you in the future.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
that one piece.
Yeah, I'm fine with anything else.
And one of the things that we looked at was there's 10 or 12 other groups in the Katahdin area doing the exact same thing. EMDC is even involved in one of those.
Yeah, that's why I think we need to have
Is
that
that-
discussion with it.
yeah, I got the sense that Lee Humphrey had indicated that they were going to try and facilitate that meeting
Right.
of groups and come up with a plan.
Well,
Was
that's
he
been
go-
tossed to me, but he was under the impression I was doing it.
Yeah, I was.
And I said
thought
we
you-
needed to have further conversation.
I
And then
think-
somewhere along the line, maybe you did, we can talk about it afterwards, but I've seen a list of the president, the organization,
Yeah.
the
All the
contact
contacts right here.
information, maybe, okay,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Let's take this in 2 steps then. Let's approve everything without the
With that
recommendation
exception.
right.
on the economic development director, and then we can continue this discussion.
Yeah.
So, do we have a motion to approve the recommendations from the TIF committee, excluding the question of the economic development position?
I make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. When it comes to this issue, I guess my personal feeling is that Mr. Humphrey left with the understanding that he would coordinate the meeting. I'm not impressed that he's giving you that.
No, I think it was during the meeting, it was tossed to me. I believe it was, I was
Prefer
designated
for
with.
EMDC to coordinate these.
Okay, well, I think we can work together if needed,
I think
we can
do
do
it that date
something.
when we go up there.
And then if we can, that would work out great. If we
Cap
could-
off the day.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring this back, because we're still under contract on November 6th anyway. And the TIF agreement goes to January 19th, so I don't know which one we're gonna follow. The contract's probably the most important one.
So the contract with EMDC goes till
It's on
November.
November 6th.
Yeah. So we have time for him to facilitate that.
Yeah, and that would be a good discussion on its own with that group, where they need the help, because the UT residents need the help everywhere except right there. Because there are so many groups already trying to get economic development, trying to promote the area. There's so many groups focused, and those groups don't even work well together. So I would like to see if we're gonna spend money to try to promote the UT, to do it. The Lincoln area has no focus at all on the UT. And there's opportunity there, and it's a desolate area for jobs. I mean, so if something we could move up there, if we could look at how to make that, promote that area better, it'd be money well spent.
Did the TIF committee have any discussion about what they might consider a reasonable collaborative effort on economic development?
What they said was if there's a project that is gonna come, that's gonna provide benefit, or there is a group that's working on a larger project and they come on an individual basis, but to fund that contract yearly just seemed excessive and unnecessary.
It had not borne the fruit that we had hoped.
Not to,
It benefited,
UT.
it benefited
it
the area,
benefited the
but
area,
not the UT, which was
Absolutely.
intended.
and with the UT funds funding the bulk of the contract, it just didn't seem like,
Well, that was the assessment of, I wanted the TIF committee to see the impact of that position in the UT. And your recommendation has been noted.
and I feel that, going forward, if it is even on a scaled down basis, it would be very impactful for part of the monthly report to indicate what is supporting the residents of the UT, what effort is supporting.
Were
If
you
we're
ever
gonna-
provided copies of the reports that we had required?
Yes, we were, but there was no specific, if the specific funds are gonna come from the UT, I think that there needs to be a specific portion of the report that shows the benefit to the UT. Right out of the gate.
And I need to clarify, Commissioner Trumbull, last meeting and during the workshop, you said, did the TIF committee review this EMDC contract? I can't find where anybody from EMDC or otherwise filled out an application, an actual TIF application. So going back through all of the minutes, I remember sitting here talking about
I
it.
think the commissioner just created it.
The commission did. It came from the Katahdin Revitalization Group, which was Mike Mishu, Steve Stanley, Jessica Macy, Wally Paul, and Deb Roundtree. Came to the commissioners at the time and asked for this position, and that's where it came from. So no, evidently the TIF committee never did review
No,
it.
I didn't think so, no.
So I wanted to prove myself right, and I didn't, so I thought I'd let you know. And that happened in October of 2018. So it did come from, a different group came and asked for this money, and you guys set it up, which is pretty much common practice outside of the TIP application. The commissioners make the full decision. I'm glad you brought that up, because I couldn't find any proof where it had been reviewed. Yeah. The last thing on the agenda, we'll be sure to bring this back to the table after we set up a meeting, but last thing on the agenda is the scholarship program. And I haven't, in my time, I haven't had time enough to do adequate research on a scholarship program. What little research we've been able to do hasn't given us much positive moving forward. We haven't been able to move forward with the scholarship program, which we all want. We all want to have a scholarship program out of the TIF funding. So today, before I do any more work on that, because I don't have time enough to do the work on it, I was wondering if the option of hiring a consultant for a few weeks, somebody could pull this off in no time. They could research other scholarships and come together with a program if they just took the time and focused on it. We could hire a consultant to do something like that. But before I spend any time on that, I wanted to be sure I got kind of a head nod or a straw poll from you guys, if that's something we should look forward to doing.
Is there anyone that we have in-house now that has skill sets with grants?
Well, I was thinking of the Northern Workforce Development, or Galen Williamson and his group. His organization is, have a sit down with the TIF committee and explore if and how they could assist in this area. And because it is in step with their mission. So this seems to be a coalescing of cause here.
And I go down that rabbit hole.
But I think we should just sit down and discuss it, and get to George and Tina and Williamson and myself, and sit down and see how this might work out.
Before we go down that rabbit hole, we might want to ask a representative committee that I think does this mostly out of the goodness of their heart, how much time they would want to be involved in the scholarship aspect.
Well, that's why I'm hoping to get a consultant to do all of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and the idea is that may be something that the North Workforce Development Board could do. And they're in-house, so let's look at it before, let us discuss it and see what possibilities are there, and then we can report.
How would you foresee this being funded for the contract position?
The same as the EMDC contract now.
But
Through
we come
TIF.
from TIF funds?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not coming out of the county budget for that?
Because you set up a scholarship program for the tax increment finance.
Right.
They should pay their own way.
Would there be a grant manager present that would like to make any observations on this?
Like, being put on the
Everybody's
spot.
looking at him, and she ain't answering us.
I can help.
I mean, is it something that would be in your wheelhouse that you, my personal observation would be you'd call the community college or Husson or someone and say,
Yeah.
you know, so you need somebody that can take this monkey off your back.
Right.
And not that you couldn't do it, but you.
I worked with Richard Colberts, the education director for the unorganized territory statewide.
Mhm.
He and I worked together on it some. He wasn't able to give me much of an example to go by because other UTs are doing it differently. Hancock County was the only other one that had a scholarship
It is the
program,
other, I
so
was
we
gonna
did
ask if
review
anybody-
that.
Yeah, but that's a little different direction than what we were thinking.
It was different than what we were able to do, but, so I worked with them, but we've got, it's not a big deal, we've got 11 or 12 seniors in this last graduating class, I don't know this year. So it's not like there's hundreds of kids applying for this, for that type of thing. That doesn't mean adults can't apply for it, because we should be able to help adults as well, if the program's set up right. But there's like 40 different schools that UT kids go to statewide. So the UT in Penobscot County would have to focus on talking to those guidance counselors at those schools. And then you could pull together a real program if you did that.
So I sense the question before us is whether we would approve funding for a contractor to look into and come up with a plan for this.
Yes, I don't need a vote
Provide a
right now.
guideline, not-
No.
no. Provide a guideline.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what the committee needs to be able to move forward as well.
But you don't envision the TIF committee being the scholarship committee,
No.
do you?
No, we've already been down that road. A volunteer position,
Okay.
they've helped a lot. Every one of them has given me ideas and people to contact, and we've tried. And to pull it all together, it won't take months, it's not that kind of thing. Somebody could probably do it in a couple of weeks if they had time and knew our contacts.
So just somebody to dedicate to that
So you
project.
don't require a vote, you just require a sense of.
Well, we could vote if you want to. I was just trying to get a straw poll.
I'm fine with it.
I think if you have a consensus, and then I don't know if that's the idea is connecting with Commissioner Marshall and that discussion, but at least if you have a sense that it's gonna be supported, which, that's what you're looking
That's what I'm
for.
looking for.
Now go and explore
Yeah.
what our next path is and bring that back
I'm
for
good with it,
approval.
but
Yeah.
I wanna explore in-house as the first option.
But I think we want to give the TIF committee and George direction that we support them.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I think this is, we've had this discussion, yes, there's no question there,
Okay.
Commissioner, Chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well established.
Okay,
yeah, okay, that's,
so you've got,
yeah, that's what we need, and then we'll move forward from there. And we'll try to figure, I'll get with Scott, try to figure out how to make a consultant, either go out to bid for a consultant, or I don't know what we're gonna have to do. It's in the conversation stages right now. The only other thing was Epic received a license to become a transfer station over in the old PERC plant. They now have a fully licensed transfer station.
Actual physical license? No?
Yeah, the paper.
Wait, still in, checks in the mail?
No, I saw
Yeah,
the
okay.
actual 21-page license.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good.
But, and they hope to start taking trash in, they said, they wanted to take it in August, but now they're hoping to start taking it in September, so. Just
you
for your
have to take it
information.
in August right now.
Yeah. And our bale is still sitting there all wrapped up.
I was gonna say, when they get this going, maybe it's time, it must be about time for you and I to take a road trip.
It is,
Just a
exactly.
quick one down there.
Yeah,
just
once
to-
they
yeah.
start taking it in, I like
Yeah,
to
see,
do
now
that.
see what they're doing and.
Scott and I go over there about once a month and see what's going on.
You still got the bailiff.
So
They
at
still have the
this,
bale.
Yeah.
at this point, we're good with,
Yep,
okay?
UT's done, thank you.
Yeah, they'll bring back options to move forward once, with regards to that last item.
Appreciate your time and
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dee.
Good to see you all again.
thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Okay. Deed, register Boulay, come on down. The blessed event, on an annual basis, like the Swallows returning to Capistrano.
That's right, March 17th.
You're just a wealth of interesting information. Budget 10,
Budget 10.
10, no, 10, you want,
On the deeds?
Yep. This is the one that gives us money, so we're gonna be nice to her.
You have something in your folder?
I have it in my budget book.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Commissioners, yeah, so you'll have a separate binder for,
This will get filled up. 10.
Gotta go ahead.
Please proceed.
So this is our budget review for the 2026 budget. Except for personnel, it's flat.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember last year, I said I was, we had these lines and they're getting a little full, so let's put some more money in there. Well, we're good again for this year, so it's flat funded except for personnel.
So 24 actuals were 1.2, and do we have year-to-date?
Are you looking at revenue?
Yeah.
I was looking at expenditures.
We
Do I
like
have a
Peter to do it
year-to-date?
first
I
here.
do not have a year-to-date for you.
Okay.
I think, we're definitely gonna make the budget prediction. I think I looked at it end of July, and it was over 700,000 that I've turned in.
Oh, okay, because your estimate's under budget.
yeah, I was gonna say, that's through June. It
Yeah.
doesn't show,
June's
on-
435.
The
through
first-
June, you're just a tad
Right.
under,
The
but,
first of the year is not, we do not make as much revenue as we do at the end of the year. So if you're taking a first of the year and projecting it out, it always comes under. We make more money in, at the end of the year than we do the first of the year.
as we get going in the process, I'll update that sheet to a more current month, but it's like chasing your tail if I stop to do that, yeah.
Understood.
Yep.
Just snapshot in time. Okay, now,
And as far as revenue goes, we are losing some transfer tax money this year to the state because they put in their wonderful new percentages, which started yesterday, actually.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
we didn't figure that out yet.
we did not win that battle.
What? So the law goes into effect later in the month, 24th. But the state is claiming that they must be paid based on September 1st revenues.
But the computer doesn't recognize it.
But think of it this way
Oh,
though, where we started early, that 3-year commitment, which we know will still be in existence 3 years from now, right? Will end a month early.
once they take it, they're always gonna take it. Yeah.
Do we have a sarcasm
Keep that thought.
filter?
But I did figure it out at one point, and it's only like about a $2,000 loss for us. So it's not a huge amount of money that we're losing for this 24
They're
days.
so good.
But it is
State's getting
annoying.
more money.
Yes, but it is
Well, it's
definitely
the
annoying.
principle of it, yeah.
Exactly. But, you know, we pay more in attorney's fees than we
I know.
do.
Okay.
So to keep the revenue for 2026 the same makes a lot of sense to me, because we really don't know what's gonna happen. There's so many changes. We are, as at the beginning of 2026, we are going to, a different revenues, different fee structure for the registry of deeds, which I do anticipate should bring in some more money until the state took away some of the transfer tax, so, maybe just.
You're not very bitter about that, are you?
No, it's fine. But they did put in a mansion tax.
Great. Who keeps that?
Well, it's shared, of course, it's shared.
Okay. Moving along.
Moving on, so expenditures are flat funded except personnel.
Thank you very much. Good.
Yes, and so commissioners, at this point, I have 4% as the magic number. Historically, we've gone with the better of contracts. I believe we have at least 2 contracts that will be 4%. So non-union in here, such as the county officers, under regular employees, that would be unionized. So again, I just want to let you know that right now, the trigger is at 4%.
Okay. Do we need to take this under advisement, or do we want to vote?
I would recommend that we take all budgets under advisement.
Okay.
And we can, and if you want to do individually at the end, we can. I would anticipate that we're probably going to come back to them, or at least a few, but.
But this one is obviously in it.
Yeah, I mean, if you approve one now and you want to come back and change it, technically there's, if not everybody's in the same thought process, it can create problems, so, yeah.
How does the commission feel about that recommendation?
That's fine, we take it under advisement and then deal with it.
Okay.
As the.
Any further questions for the register before we take it under advisement?
I hope the other departments look as well.
See, it's such a high standard that I set.
It is, it's a high, it's a hurdle to be hold.
I'm sure everyone's paying rent attention.
The sheriff is in the room, so.
Yeah.
And all the other department heads do.
Okay, is there anything else you would like to share? Good news? I understand you'll be coming to a convention this year?
Yes, coming down just for the one day, so.
Well, I appreciate what your president has done to mobilize people, and hopefully you'll find it to be an enjoyable event.
Yes, should be.
You usually attend, don't you, annually, at least?
Yes,
one
I
day,
usually
or-
attend. Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome, thank you. Any questions, let me know.
Sure thing. At this point, we'll move on to item G, the EMA, Department 3. Rob, you know the bar has been set pretty high today.
Yes, I appreciate the register's fiscal responsibility.
Plus the revenue she brings in.
Yes, I'm not gonna be able to match either of those elements, so.
Probably lucky just to keep pace for the prior year.
Sure, absolutely.
Kind of like being on the down escalator trying to go up.
That's it, exactly.
All right, looking at revenues, I see a highlighted area here which indicates a,
Yeah, that probably was just a note to me, or, note to me, just to make sure, and I believe we've already communicated on this. It's the same numbers.
Yes, I apologize, yes, that is
So,
correct.
yeah,
Same
that's just a, I can highlight that.
okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I like to pay
So-
attention to your
Thank you,
diligence.
appreciate it.
We'll draw attention to it that it's not changed for
Right.
2026, which is positive in that we were,
Unfortunately.
it's not changed for the negative, I
Right.
would say, that's the positive part. just
At
to
this
find
point,
that-
that's a good.
Yeah, correct, because we were very potentially close to losing funds, so.
Okay, so now we'll move into the,
Meat potatoes.
Yeah, very good.
So up top, I've met with the director. we have, again, I mentioned earlier, you have the 4% trigger on non-union. So there's a COLA and a step there. You're gonna see a substantial reduction in the second line, deputy county officer, that's due to a personnel change. Again, GIS is COLA and step. And the part-time payroll, which actually, at this point, or at some point, in order to support that line, you're going to need to finally approve, or finalize and approve the prior item on the agenda, which is an increase from 25 to 29 hours, which was brought up in the workshop, had full support of the commission, but has not been voted on yet.
Okay, right, because we don't vote on most things in workshop.
So you can stop and do it now if you wish, or.
What's the pleasure? Do we want to address this issue so we can move on with a little more surety in his budget presentation? This would be going from 25 to 29 hours for their fiscal person.
Right, the finance
person.
Specialist.
So can you go over the first page again?
Oh,
The revenue
revenues.
from the department, how does it split? What do we contribute to the revenue?
Chris, I'll let you.
Yeah, so the, I need to update the figure, but it's based on up to 50% of 422,000. So our total amount available, I'm sorry, just moving my papers around. Our total available to us in our allocation from the state is 175,745. Our total payroll budget is 422,227. So we will do, let's see, I'm sorry, let me just do a quick math here.
So 422, according to what you're
Would be
presenting here,
211
is
max.
both wages and benefits.
Yes. Yeah, so the county's contribution to that is 246,482.
And all the other expenses, all the office expenses fall totally on the county?
Yeah.
Vehicles, everything else?
That went away, what, 2 or 3 years ago, correct?
Yes, with the adjustments to salaries and the reduction in availability. So if you see in 2024, the amount was 197, they reduced it in 2025 to 175 and came with that reduction to 175 for 2026. Additionally, just really quick, I'll correct the amount because the 17,000 also is towards our payroll. So the amount the county is contributing is 229,482.
Does the UT contribute to the EMA? Because it seems like they would get a big benefit from the EMA. Can UT contribute to EMA?
That's done through the UT pays a county tax based
Okay,
off
so
of
that's how they
valuation.
contribute
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, very similar to a municipality.
I know when we had the discussion last week, I didn't have a major problem adding those flowers, but and we just heard the audit. I mean, 7,500, 7,600 doesn't seem like a lot, but here, 7,600 here, 7,600 there, pretty soon it's real money. So I don't know, I'm comfortable adding anything to next year's budget that's gonna, as far as positions or hours. I'd like to start with a base budget, and if we need to go back, so I mean, I know we're not gonna vote on each department right now. I'm okay with what we did for this year. I don't know if I'm about adding in for next year. I mean, we're gonna have to make some tough decisions as we work on next year's budget.
Well, I'm gonna be more, like you, I'm concerned with where we're going, especially with the rising costs that we're associating to forwarding and other things, that we've gotta have a clear message that we take to our administrators and elected officials when budget times come, so. But at this point, would it be better to take this under advisement, recognizing?
But that's what we're gonna do with all the budgets.
Right.
But we need to make a decision on this year's increase to 4 hours, which I was okay with doing.
I think, yeah, that
Can we
would
do
be.
that?
Yes, just, you want to do it just for this year.
Yeah, I'm okay
Yep.
with it.
Okay,
Yep.
Just the rest of this year.
so are you making the motion to up it to 29 hours?
Right, for the remainder of this fiscal year, right, okay.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second to approve the increased hours for the financial position for EMA. Further discussion, seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Chris, you're gonna have to reflect that in your next budget, or address that in your next budget.
I think
It's
he
in there,
has,
yeah.
he has it in there. That
All
was,
right.
I'll work out the figure onto what the $7,600 is and how that reflects with the 5 hours versus just what the year-over-year is.
Thank you.
the other thing that I would appreciate you continuing to look at is when we do non-emergency events that are specific to a community or region, if they are using our equipment, that there should be some level of compensation that comes back for our reserve accounts, as you did for the drone.
Yes.
You got the comms tower. I think, I don't want to in any way dampen the support that EMA gives to these events, but I think we need a clear position. If it's for an individualized event that benefits a community or a group of communities, they should reflect on the fact that there are 55 communities here that are not all benefiting from that. So some level that benefits the entire county, and that being the reserve account, is appropriate. I don't want to create a lot of exercise for you, but it's clear that the feds are starting to scale back. We need to be prudent with our local taxpayers' money. So if it's something that benefits the entire county, training operations, et cetera, but components of this that are going to cost us money down the road to repair or replace should have reserves, and I think it should come from, if you've got a marathon or a bike, there should be some level, and I would, since the sheriff's in the room, ask him to reflect on that too. I know there's great value in community activities, and I don't want to nickel and dime people, but if we're doing this, then we're building an understanding that there is a cost, and not everyone should bear the full cost for an individualized event.
Yeah, this would be a nominal fee, but a nominal fee to show their investment and to handle our operating replacement costs.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that, and I will continue to work on developing something. Can you explain, or just give me some guidance on how you'd like that presented beyond the first one that I gave for the drone?
Mm-hmm. So let's say you do the Millinocket Marathon.
Yes, sir.
They receive a fee for that, do they not?
I'm not sure that the UT receives a fee for that.
No, I'm talking about the organizers charging registration fees.
Oh, understood, yes.
And they distribute that
I believe they do.
money to various organizations.
Yeah,
There's
we
a
should be part of
nonprofit
that.
element.
In recouping,
Okay,
we should be recouping some amount of money for the county for our participation in our services.
I'm not saying that we've kind of set a metric for the sheriff when we do community policing contracts to try and absorb or return to the county about 85% of what the costs are.
okay.
That may be harder to quantify with the equipment you have, but there's got to be some rental structure when it comes to drones. You did a lot of good work to identify that. If we're using the comms tower, we're using other equipment, we ought to at least be covering gas and maybe a little something to go into the reserve account.
And you would just look for that in equipment and expendables, but not necessarily personnel costs?
Right. I don't think we're looking, because you receive compensation from the feds and it's a training value to you. I mean, if we're talking about overtime hours, I think we have to have a conversation about that. But if we're talking about regular hours, I'm not as interested in making these people finance department as help to support the replacement of equipment that is of value to them in their operation.
It might be a good task, it might be, to sort of analyze this, to take one of your events, and what manpower, equipment time, is there a standard for a piece of equipment per hour? Kind of allocate it out and see what that number comes up to. And then, yeah, go to sit down, you and I can have a conversation,
Yeah, agreed,
and
Scott.
even with Brenda, we can talk about like, okay, how would we, what would be a reasonable
Right.
fee?
Yeah, because I think there's a
Yeah.
balance in the
Yep.
thing and then the administrative aspects of making sure that we get the funds.
Right, I'm okay with the
Chasing it
bicycle
down.
reserve, but I think you using a marathon as an example, but I even think Millinocket should be seen like they're not part of the county. They already pay a county tax, so they're already paying for this service, so I think for us to go up, we shouldn't charge for time. But yeah, if we've got some equipment going up there that we're gonna at some point need to replace, that makes sense, but they're already paying a tax to funding this department.
Well, I want it to be recognized that the agency supports the county. It does a lot of benefits to the county at no charge, but when we have invested ARPA funds to buy the level
Right, those are
equipment,
gonna have to be replaced when those
We're-
funds aren't around.
and if they get overused in certain things that don't benefit the entire county, then other towns in the process look at this and say, well, you're always going to X, Y, Z,
Right.
but, well, if you don't have something, I can't come down, but I can justify a cost to that individual town or region that helps to soften the blow when it comes time to replace that equipment. So that's really the bigger part of this, is figuring out how to get money into those reserve accounts without using property tax dollars.
Pick 10 pieces of equipment and say, here's what, to deploy it for a day, here's what the cost is
Yeah.
gonna be.
It's like going to a rental
Right,
agency to get
right.
a cement mixer or a
Right.
chainsaw. Okay, I think we won't beat on that anymore, you get what we want.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Other items that you would like to bring to our attention, or are we?
I think, just for the sake of time, anything over 25% or more. So on the services, line 40-0300, we're increasing that by $300 at 25%, in anticipation of Adobe Pro increase costs, which is something borne by our department. We're increasing the lodging line by 33%, which is actually $300. Because just this year with the MCCA, we were far over that amount. I'll highlight a reduction in the gas and light maintenance, thanks to the commissioner's support. And for a new vehicle, we will have reduced costs in maintaining our 2016 vehicle, so we're able to reduce that line by $2,000. Let's see here. And then just keeping with the 25% or more, there's nothing further in that line until we get to capital. So Commissioner, is there anything specific in those other increase areas?
Question? We don't have to get too granular today, but just if there's anything that sticks out.
The only one under capital, just for the commissioner's attention, is the last item that's highlighted, our grant match, should be matching funds, not marching,
So that was a
when I
new,
learned how to type.
that was a new line that I'm requesting. It's been previewed that there's going to be a potential that local grant funds are gonna be, local contribution funds are gonna be required to take advantage of the Homeland Security Grant Program, which in years past has never been the case. We've been forecasted that it might be as high as 25%. This year, EMA applied for $100,000 just for our office. So I'm asking for 20% so that we can have that funding on hand so we can take advantage of the Homeland Security Fund. Should that opportunity be offered again in fiscal year 26, federal fiscal 26.
So without it, we stand the potential loss of revenues?
I wouldn't say it's a loss of revenue because the HSGP doesn't contribute to our revenue. That is our EMPG, which already has the 50% match.
So this 20 would this would draw down money that would go to county services or would be redistributed to municipal?
No, this would be for county. Yeah, the municipalities would be required to do their own.
Right, but there would be funds used to secure other funds.
Yeah,
I mean, if you have to have the committee,
So it's a factor that we'll have to take into account. If you don't have the budget item, then you're not gonna be able to apply for some of these federal grants.
that's correct.
either the director or the commission would have to look at alternative funding sources.
Makes sense?
Could be.
Questions? Okay, I guess we will take that under advisement and appreciate your understanding of our request, and thank you for your work on it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
All relative landscape.
If Chair,
Facilities.
well, Chair, if I could, if Brian doesn't mind, the sheriff had requested to come speak for a couple of minutes. And I said around 11:15-ish. He's not on the agenda, but it's either that or probably to the end, or
You feel the temperature is right for you to address us with your needs?
I would like Brian to go first.
you would like Brian to go first?
Yes.
Okay. This is building your case.
I'm taking care of it. Thanks.
Are you hiding in plain sight over here, Sheriff?
What's that?
Are you hiding in plain sight?
I'm hiding in plain sight.
Okay. Facilities, welcome.
Audit.
This would be
Oh,
just a report, not a budget item.
we got 2 RFPs ready up.
Okay. RFP,
This is the T&M contract.
sacred letter opener.
Yep.
Two is better than none, I guess.
You wanna do the general procedure again? I don't know, we can run Marshall with
I'll let you
The
know.
first one we have is from TM
Contractors, although they,
Neopa Contractors, yeah. They've got a unique logo that I'm
Mesmerized.
there it is in black and white, T&M Contractors of Levant, Maine. Proposed cost, $166,076.
Which one is this for? We had 2 roll for that, this is for the,
Yeah, this is for the second floor renovations, former Commissioner Chambers to the VA clerk hall.
okay, this
Yep.
is, you got that list?
Yep,
Phelan Construction,
Phelan,
Old Town, $195,328.
what is it there?
$195,328.
And the other one was 106,000?
107.
$166,706.
And we want a motion to take these under advisement.
So move.
Have a motion, have a second?
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Thank you.
Commissioner Trumbull mentioned we have another, with Franklin Street, when we delayed or extended the last time, personally, I didn't think the Labor Day weekend would cause us any issues, but we had several potential bidders ask for a day or 2 delay to get past the holiday. And where you only meet every other week now, a day delay equals another 2 weeks. So for the final time, we have extended to, the bids are now due September 19th. Joshua and I spent most of yesterday answering the final questions. He sent out an email late last night. It's a small project, but a lot of
Complexities?
correct, yeah, it's hopefully it'll work out, and we have 6 or 7 that have been interested, and 2 or 3 of them have asked all kinds of questions, so I think the delay was
2 or 3 of them were ready to back out and not bid because of the Labor Day weekend. So I think this will help us get hopefully a better price, or certainly more prices to choose from. So that's where we are with that, where we are with that.
It's an important project to several people in this room.
It is. I know the delay will cause them a little angst, but hopefully we'll be better for it, so.
Likely be done before the new correctional facility.
I hope so. And lastly, what I have for you is a little discussion on a set of stairs that the sheriff and his staff would love to see going from the rear of the post office somewhere to Franklin Street. I have a quick rendition that I didn't get until yesterday afternoon. Joshua sent it to us. He's interested in helping us with that. We're definitely gonna need an engineer to get involved. It won't be as easy of just putting in a set of stairs. We'll have to get code enforcement involved for a building permit, engineering for a right-of-way permit. It's in a shoreland zoning, so the planning board will have to have approval. We'll have to get approval from the planning board.
Which side of the driveway will it go up on? If we're standing on Franklin Street, will it be to the right of this? To the left?
So we haven't really thought of that far ahead. I have a color version here somewhere, it's easier to see. Right there, you see his quick rendition is just along where the wall is painted, the mural that's been painted. I don't know if it would be better there or up against the building.
Either way, it's still shoreline?
Oh, yes, yeah. We're sitting in shoreline zoning right here, so it ends right outside our building here along the street, so. So there'll be several permissions that we'll need. All of them will need to see drawings from a licensed engineer. I don't have a price for any of that yet. And also
a civil engineer that you've used for things like this, or?
My quick thought was just to go to Haley Ward. They're local, they have the staff. I don't know if I've worked with any of their civil engineers. I may have, I'd have to look back, but they're right here. So, and we've got enough going on with them.
Josh is working part-time or some scope with them on the new facility anyways,
Correct,
right?
yeah, Josh was, so even though, with the jail facility, most of the work will be done by others, they're not local, so they will need a local team here. Josh will be part of that, so, with the folks from, Haley Ward.
Just a couple, I know when you say, okay, we'll put up a set of stairs, it seems fairly simple and not that expensive, but I think when we get prices back, you're gonna be surprised how much it's gonna be to put in a set of stairs, and we might wanna say, cost benefit, is it really worth putting the stairs in? Because it's gonna be a lot more than you think, but the other thing is if we do go forward with it, as they get designed, I think we gotta make sure they're not open on the sides. So, I mean, it can create a place for people to go and have needles under there and do other types of things like that. So I think we wanna make sure they're closed underneath.
Yeah, the initial thought was a set of steel stairs, like a.
There goes your price keeps going up.
Well, I don't know if
No,
that would be more expensive than concrete.
No, I mean, I think steel makes sense, but I'm just, it's gonna be,
So,
not gonna be cheap.
no, it wouldn't be. There are still many concerns. We put a flight of stairs in like that. I don't know if we would also be required to provide ADA access. there's still many unknowns, and as we fill some of those blanks in, obviously, the price would change.
Might be cheaper to put a sign up that says, authorized access only. So it's not open to the public.
Well, I know we can see some signs across the street that, we're trying very hard to keep people out, but we can't police that 24/7. It might be, I don't know where we would do it, but it might be something to consider, maybe an internal set of stairs in the building. It might not be as difficult to make happen.
I think the engineer will help guide us towards that. I mean, once they draft something up, they'll be able to give an estimated cost or somewhere,
Correct.
before we go to bid. So that one, and I sent you an email just now, but when we do that, we also need to look at covering the sterile floor in deeds. That was kind of a project that was under the ARPA scope. And then at some point, especially with what we just received today for numbers, we need to get back some of this information in order to decide where the money's going. Because that was a large,
The shrinking pot.
that was a large number that just came and hit us. Nothing what I expected, but anyway.
Well, that project, like many other renovation projects or tear down projects here, takes on a life of its own.
Yep, so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see what Franklin Street will look like.
Yes,
price-wise.
I think that's obviously the trigger one.
Just put on the record, I'm not comfortable leaving no means of access to the parking area other than walking all the way up Franklin Street and Hammond Street.
I understand that.
I don't think that's for people who are sometimes on a very sensitive time frame that are gonna be in that building, that they've gotta have access to the vehicles. So if we can't put stairs up, we need parking in front of that for these two vehicles.
It's for walkers, you should walk that sometimes, not that far.
In February, when there's ice and snow on the ground, I'm not interested in workers' comp claims either, so. My opinion, I'm one of three.
I think that's all I have for you
It's
today.
been fun, you've
Thank you.
Where did the propane park,
Probation parole. Probation and parole, I think they had a spot up behind the post office, one
They
or
had
two.
one or two up there, and
Oh,
They must have walked
Franklin
across
Street
the
and
front of the
ended
building,
it.
probably went down the ramp, which is not something we want to
Right.
encourage, but
then they shuffled their cars every day, like out here,
Well, they're
every day at lunchtime, you see everybody run out and shuffle their cars
yeah, they
around.
probably parked, they didn't use the parking spots, they parked down the front.
Why, do they use a marker?
I don't know. I-
Camera. Oh, they use
Anything
camera.
further for facilities?
Yeah, turn the cameras on.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Sheriff?
I should go first.
Good day.
I'm gonna start my time at 5 minutes.
Okay.
Two contracts, one is the town of Pasadum KGIS that you approved that contract, this is just a part-time contract. They get us a set amount of funding, and again, this is a split year one with them, so they have $3,900 in change for the remainder of this year, and then in February 1st, they will put $7,000 in that. I ask that you accept that one. And then the town of Greenbush, July 1st, this actually started in July 1st. We were confident that we've been providing them service very long, because I was very confident that a contract would get signed with them. As you may remember, we were gonna have them as part of a full-time deal person with Milford. Milford backed out, left Greenbush high and dry. So Greenbush was not prepared to take on a full-time person by themselves right now. But they did put $55,000 into account, so we'll be operating that similar. That'll allow us to put people up there quite a bit. And so, and I went up and met with the town selectmen a couple weeks ago in Greenbush. They're super happy with the service. They potentially like to see us get to a full-time person. They just couldn't do it all in 1 year. They were hoping, as you may remember, they were like 25,000. They went to 55,000. They may get to a full contract at some point. So,
Sheriff, on that Greenbush contract, is that, do you have a designated individual that handles that or floater?
no, all of these, what I call, I have to be careful I say this because we don't use part-time people for any of these, but these are what I call part-time supplemental contracts, which I started this back when I was the chief deputy. We treat them like the highway safety grants. They give you a set amount of money, you spend it in town. We only charge the exact deputy's wages, benefits, whatnot. So whoever rotates in there, the reason the commissioners these work well, or the towns like them, is there's no set schedule. They may be out during a Sunday day shift where everybody's home, and you'd say, why would you have you out on Sunday day shift? You're not taking too many complaints, but guess what? Everybody's in their yard on a Sunday day shift, and when you drive by, they see you. And you could drive by that house 10 times tonight and they never see you once. So part of this is, as you know, visibility is the leading deterrent to any crime. So these allow us to go in and focus on specific areas that the town feels like there's problems. It might be that very back road that a zone deputy can never get to.
And Greenbush did, they recommend, they donate 50,000, not donated, they 50,000?
Yeah, they allocated 55,000. I just asked that you accept both of those, and Administrator Atkins can sign off on both of these, just like you did the other ones. These were the final of our 10 that we had.
Something like that.
So we have two continuations of contracts, correct?
Yes.
Two continuations of partially allocated time. Do I have a motion?
Point of order.
Sure.
Can we just go ahead and vote on these, or where they were on the agenda, do we need to suspend the rules to put them on the agenda? Just technically, what do we
Yep,
to do?
we're taking a vote, so I would ask that we open the agenda for the purpose of adding sheriff's report and contract.
I would make that motion.
I would second Dan's motion.
Further discussion, seeing none, all those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
We have added item,
Aye. New item I.
new item I.
I would move we approve the contracts as presented by the sheriff.
A second.
Have a motion and a
As
second,
That's another Greenbush.
Greenbush.
and allow the administrator to sign on our behalf. Any further discussion, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous,
Thank you, Sheriff.
Perhaps one day we can get those towns to merge.
Yeah.
Might not be a bad idea.
Collaborate.
Glad opening's going on.
No comments there. A quick comment on your information that I told the director of EMA that I would speak to him about your thought processes on potentially charging for the use of equipment. I think that's not a great idea. And so let me share what we do.
Okay.
In these contracts allow for this to happen. So when there's a parade, when there's fireworks nights, when there's something that a town is doing, we may send additional resources. Carmel has a contract with us, we send a lot out to Carmel Days. Our taxpayers are paying for these services along the way. I understand the need to make sure that we're maintaining equipment and helping that. If these were events that were private in nature, feel differently, right? We have a rate that we charge private organizations differently. But in some of these cases, when EMA is there, they're providing services that help your RCC, and they're also helping us, and they're helping the fire department. So I would be mindful of us talking, maybe he's has events that I might not be familiar with, where equipment, but I don't believe, I have none that are totally private. If it was totally a private, we charge deputy rates. If it's Bangor Hydro or somebody putting up guardrails on the interstate, just, there's a few of them. We do one or two a year, if that. But most of them are done by municipalities. So I would just something to consider, that if you're gonna charge these places, I don't know about the marathon, that's kind of different, that's not my thing. But a lot of the things that we do, Burlington Days and things like that, when we go and we help these communities with their own days, just something I would consider. So for wages and things like that, we actually charge these contracts. It's a perfect use of them. We have some events coming up in Lavana, the big rodeo, the Tree Worthy's apple orchard stuff. We utilize, Lavana recognizes that that's a town event by private organizations, but the town allows us to assign additional deputies. That takes the burden off from the county from using its rural patrol deputies to fill those needs. So just something to consider.
But in those cases, you already have existing contracts that bring revenue to the county from that community for community events.
Yep.
If we're using the drone or the comm tower for an event that, like, what initiated this was there were communities he was doing flyovers for, which I think is helpful. But why should one community benefit from the use of our equipment when 54 other communities may? I mean, you couldn't even do one a week and get through all of them.
No, I understand. I don't know all of his, what that was about. I just caught the tail end of it. You mentioned the sheriff's office. I just wanted to throw our 2 cents into what we're doing and perhaps some of our experience I could share with the director, just to say, here's how we're taking care of ours and why I feel like this, and if there's some private ones, that's probably different.
It's kind of, I think, healthy as the dynamics of determining how we would set the fees for community policing contracts have led you to use a certain factor to try to, get to that level. We're benefiting those communities, and certainly it allows your people value in the training and the relationships. We just, in replacing some of this ARPA equipment, we've got to do it in a way that doesn't put it all on the taxpayer. So that's kind of where we're at. But duly noted, thank you for raising that.
I appreciate having the equipment. The technology is amazing, and ultimately, again,
we all know how expensive those drones are.
it might save the county, the sheriff's office, time and resources, something with PRCC, and you're helping us work together. So, then just lastly, I want to mention the Maine Department of Corrections came in and did the biannual inspection of the county jail. I sent some correspondence to you. I sent this out to the administrator this morning.
I sent that report to the commissioners, and, well, they have a copy in their binders, and I'll be sending it electronically as well.
I brought you one hard copy. But anyhow, overall, just if you quickly want to get the grade, it's on page 14.
I was very disappointed that I was hoping we would fail and maybe we would have to get rid of somebody.
Well, yeah.
Shut down the jail.
Yeah. So, you see, I was very impressed with this.
Could have done better than that. Did you
I know.
100?
I know. It's a little better than 100 would have been good. It didn't come without having some very frank discussions with them. They have concerns about our facilities, which I've asked for some documentation as far as the physical plant. This is what I'm impressed with. The comments out of 3 inspectors, we had 3 inspectors come out who spent 2 days here, state employees, no connection to us, that praised our operations and our practices, that we're upholding our mission of running a safe and humane jail, and that the practices and procedures that we have in place are working. The downfalls are truly, and I know this is, people are gonna say it's just because you think we need a new building. The physical plant is the problem. It's sight and sound issues, why we can't get a federal license in for PREA. We are PREA compliant by state standards. I think we should have a federal licensing. We can't do it because of sight sound. Everything that they pointed out in this building is sight sound, and that comes with a linear style jail. We're not the only one that has a linear style jail, there are 3 others in the state. But nevertheless, I want to commend our staff. They put a tremendous amount of work on it. These are literally 254 separate folders of all the inefficiencies of the state. I try to ask them why we don't do these on spreadsheets, we don't do them on folders on the internet, something, share files. They literally have paper, 250 files, 54 files, and they open up every one of them, and they look at the standard, and they make sure that you have the documentation following a physical face-to-face inspection of the facility, and then they interview individuals that are incarcerated here, as well as they set down lengthy interviews with medical and mental health services and a booking and intake areas. So I'm pleased with our staff. They should be commended. This takes a lot to make sure that you meet this. We've heard across the state, I think it's nearly impossible to have a 100 score. I think you should be commended for that. And I certainly give my hats off to all of our staff.
Absolutely.
I would say, I think it would, some type of letter from the commissioners would be appropriate to send to the jail staff, so just appreciation. I mean, that's amazing, seriously, that facility come up with that kind of score was very impressive.
If we work on drafting something.
Yep, something they can post up.
7 minutes, I'm over. I was trying to,
We ask
Let everybody know
questions, so
that.
we don't count that
That's right.
against your time.
that's right, that agenda time. That's it, that's all I have, unless you guys have questions for me. I do have some thoughts on your building design next door when it comes to steps and spaces, and
Submit them.
I'll send it to you. It's not about steps, I think we have wasted space in that entire building, and when the county continues to go out to try to find rebuilding spaces, rebuilding offices, and all of this, and we have a building that we collect very little on in comparison to the needs of the county, when here we are looking at designing potentially other places somewhere else. It's a shame that we have a building right next door. It would fix our parking problems and everything else. It's a nightmare, commissioners. I know you don't live this, but you've been out, all of you have been around long enough. You can't walk down and go down that drive-through, which is the most dangerous, ridiculous thing you ever do, coming out to try to drive down onto Franklin Street, let alone walk down that when cars are coming down around there. That's just the stair issue that comes out. It's a nightmare coming into this parking lot with the amount of traffic. I asked you to do a traffic study that can be done simple by putting one of the traffic counters in there. You'll be stunned how much traffic comes through that parking lot because of the post office every day. And so I hope maybe we consider what's the value of what's in that building currently to what the county needs for its own, the sort of.
It is an interim
I'm
solution.
just one sheriff. You said you're one commissioner of three. I'm just one sheriff of one sheriff.
I do want to point out, I enjoyed greatly the opportunity to go to retreat last week. I'm sorry we didn't have more commissioners who were available, but I thought it was a
Was
very
it
good
good breakfast? Did you get that tea?
breakfast. Was very good. The speakers were very good, very interesting. I, of course, picked up a few more leads for sponsors for our convention. But
I knew there was a gimmick behind it. I asked the guy about our conference next year, and he said, I just signed up for the commissioners. And I appreciate Commissioner Cushion, your CCA, to bridge those gaps between sheriffs and commissioners and administrators and all others. We've got it's not just this county, right? All of these counties have some serious financial challenges to address, and if we get on the same boat, we'll do better. So I think that you're fighting upstream, but I think that you've made a lot of progress in a short time. The Franklin County meeting was another example. You had good attendance, you had people sitting in the same room talking. I would encourage you, no matter how bleak it seems, keep doing it, because we're going to communicate.
we certainly would welcome more of your colleagues to our convention too.
Yeah.
We can certainly-
They'll sign up the day before.
Yeah, we really should join more often. Yeah.
Thank you all. I'll leave you this one copy. I almost made my 5 minutes.
Is that the reporter?
That's just that.
Yeah. Yep, I think that you have a copy of this in binders. Yeah.
Thank you.
Director
Thank you.
Kenny, I believe you are on deck.
Oh, up behind us.
You want to share some interesting photos of our new website design that we're working on?
I do, yes. I got 3 photos. This is really just like a 3D render of what it could look like. I'm gonna try my best to do it here. So this is
cool, thank you.
the rendering of what the front page could look like. So you have our county logo at the top left, the menu navigation, so home, government, departments, residents, services. This is not 100%, this is just bare bones what it could look like. Nothing is set in stone at this point. Really, the point of looking at this is to make sure that the colors are the way we want it, the font the button layout and all of that. That's why if you look here, it doesn't say anything of importance, it's just a placeholder. So the front page would essentially look like this. Menu navigations, our social media, a search function, ADA compliance is going to be baked in. You have an option to search the site. These are quick links. So right now they're soft set to agenda minutes, commissioners, resources, job opportunities, additional links. I don't know what that's for. We'll figure that out later. We have the calendar for upcoming events. These will be events on the calendar here. A little
That
section.
will be changeable
Yes. Yeah, so these two items here on the right, that's gonna change with what's upcoming for events. So, you know, we would have the 2 commissioner meetings, opiate committee, on the calendar, they would show up here.
Yeah, we're gonna hide that.
Being from Newport, Andre has a new tagline for the case. He's got Penobscot County, home of Kootenai flag.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, will the photos that you have there be static, or is there a slideshow option?
Great question. We can do either.
Okay.
So right now, I think they're set to static, just because I didn't have too many options when I sent them in. So if we got more photos of Penobscot County as a whole, Bangor, Brewer, we could actually probably have a rotating set of photos here.
It must be a Bangor, Brewer, Holden, Clifton, Eddington is the ones we really want to focus on.
I'll take whatever I can get, honestly.
Fly over the Newport roundabout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, it would be, to me, appealing to see certain updated things. If there was a touch a truck event, the sheriff was at.
Yeah.
If there was, you know, an opening of a roundabout or something, that would be pertinent to different areas of the county. I know that's more work, but if there was a simple process to insert that somewhere so that it popped up in the feed.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that as like an update, where if we scroll down here, you'd have like the recent updates, where if we posted something on the website, it would show up here. But if you wanted like a rotating set of photos, we could also I believe we could have that rotate this photo here.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of like a slideshow that would automatically roll through.
Yeah.
So if we had an individual, per se, that was in the administrative office that was keeping up to date with certain things and work with IT to kind of help update this.
Yeah.
So anyway, two head shakes, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, should be easy enough.
All right.
Let's see.
And you can add pages to this at your discretion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm thinking as the ARPA evolves, we would want to have a page dedicated to the projects and the ARPA information as to what we've done, what we'd like to do. Another one that I could see would be, I just lost it. The information that we've put together for the flyer that should be coming, we'd like to maybe PDF that, so it could be downloaded in case people wanted that, because it's gonna be huge, it's gonna be big.
Huge.
Yeah, so that's great for down the line. We're not at that point yet. This is again, just to make sure that all the layout and colors and fonts are all right. This photo here is just kind of what it could look like for an internal page. So again, you'd have your title, a little blurb, a photo, so you could have like ARPA projects, what we did with ARPA money, the photo of some of the people that got approved. So again, this is just a layout of what an internal page could look like. And then the last photo I have is just menu navigation. So when you click departments, it'll look like that. You'll have your sub menu, or you'll have your menu and then your sub menu. That's what the search will look like. That's what the ADA compliance will look like. So this is just navigation.
Sure, there's people that would, like it to be maybe maroon and white, or
No
yeah.
purpose.
Yeah, I did call HR asking if we had,
A couple of whites and
Call it.
what? John Babs.
Oh, yeah, that,
so I did call HR about colors and they didn't have anything specific, so I just went with the colors in our, logo.
Oh, I think it's a nice clean look. What does it do to the domain name?
Nothing.
Oh, we're still gonna be a penobscot-county.net?
Yep.
Can we get a .gov?
Yes, but that's separate from this project.
Oh, okay.
That's just us registering for it and filling out the application with the government. That's,
Do
yeah.
we know if it's still available or if somebody snatched it up?
I haven't checked. I would be kind of shocked if it was snapped up, but we can take a look.
I wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I was buying
Probably, it might be
real estate.
Penobscot County, Maine is what would end up happening, yeah, I think that's what we did in Hancock.
Okay.
Just, so scroll down, yeah, well, you're good right there. The commission, so the outline, it looks like a badge, but I think that's sort of the commissioners,
The Starburst.
it's a commissioner's, it's a logo is what it's supposed to be, right?
I,
I mean, the commissioner, no? It just looks,
it could be. I
it
haven't
looks odd
asked.
to me, I don't know, it just looks odd to me sitting there with,
How do you think, an oval circle would be?
or
I
maybe-
assume, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
without a
this.
pic, that's what I thought, oh, that's what I'm looking at there, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, 'cause
but anyway,
even
that's
here-
just,
They also
yeah.
tried to,
Oh, I see. It more is identified as a law enforcement insignia as opposed to a.
maybe if it was, is it the same picture? Just smaller?
it does look like that.
Yeah, maybe that's what it, yeah, maybe that just looks like, so if it was a different picture, then yeah,
Yeah, and again,
yeah, no, that's
Just
all
not
right.
About the shape of it, you just.
Something is, I'm looking at it going, I don't know, something isn't just jiving with me, but that's, yeah, something
Yeah, it's
is.
just,
But
for
it's a
example, we can
huge
insert
upgrade from what we have, so, yeah.
So you're okay with the Starburst design? Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty much okay with anything, I'm just the administrator, I just keep telling myself that, and, yeah, it works.
You know, in your spare time, you're gonna be taking pictures for this.
Yeah, well, that's why I look to my right, yeah.
If that was a Lucerne golf course, would that be better?
Oh, sure, yeah, making a birdie
out
putt,
of
sure.
the county.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. Oh, that's
Parks
true,
Pond.
right.
Okay, Parks Pond.
Parks Pond, yeah, a nice little sailboat picture in there would go good, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you get the
Anyway,
gist of where this is
now that we're
gonna
off
go.
track.
You know, anything else in your presentation you'd like to share with us or ask us?
nope, that's all I have.
Awesome.
yeah,
I believe you have the privilege of presenting your budget too.
I do.
All right, Department 15. These guys get crunched in the afternoon time, so we're gonna move on.
yeah, we're past 2 hours, so we're getting hangry.
Okay. I see revenues that come in at 10 grand.
How about that?
Is that a contract service we have with another county?
The revenue would be more than likely to Piscataquis County.
Not just more than likely, it is. Yep,
And is that a figure that seems to be commensurate with the time that you're expending up there now?
Yes, I believe it would be.
yeah, we talked about it a little bit, there are some other areas that we talked about, such as filming usage. I gave the director some advice to talk to both the sheriff and the RCC director to see about that.
It is creating some conflicts in reporting, as you may have been made aware. So
Yeah.
I don't know
And,
if Billman has engaged with you to try and help fix that or not, but.
At that point, I'm not really sure what you mean by
Well,
reporting.
when they pull reports out of Spillman
Yeah.
on their, I think their pop numbers or.
Oh, yeah, and that is mostly because of a disagreement between Piscataquis and Penobscot and how they each do their own jails.
Okay.
So I think we're having the two jails work together to have kind of a set policy on how things should be done. And that should hopefully clean up the reporting.
Okay, so that seems to be in process,
Yes.
Oh, good, okay.
all right?
In that contract, we have parameters set around for a certain number of hours.
Okay,
So for instance, you'll see the actuals in 25 exceed that, that's because IT has gone beyond those scopes, and we charge additional.
I think the Piscataquis has also assisted us with boarding at some point,
Yes,
so There's been a good collaboration there.
It's working, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Expenditures. Anything you'd like to bring to our attention in the expenditures?
I don't believe so.
Payroll's pretty static up top, as I talked about prior.
Right, this doesn't reflect any new, this is just existing.
No, yes.
Yeah.
And when it comes to contractual arrangements for various programs or whatnot, is there any market changes that you anticipate?
So actually, I'm kind of glad you brought that up. So the software that we use on our virtual infrastructure, on our servers, they got recently acquired. So that actually shot the renewal up quite a bit. So last year it was about 14 grand, this year it's about 22. So yeah, next year it might be a little bit more expensive than previously.
So 25 was 22, and next year you anticipate potential increase?
I hope it's not another 6 grand. It could be a grand at most, I would hope. But I don't know until I see the bill, unfortunately.
They have no preview of what the cost is gonna be?
Not that I've seen. Because they're still kind of relatively new to the acquisition, so they're still trying to get that all sorted out. Last year, they changed it from the number of CPUs to the core count. And then they stopped allowing our third-party vendor to sell the renewal, which is why it's now 20 instead of 14. So I have to go directly through the company. So it could keep getting worse, and I am looking at alternatives, so we might actually just move right off of them if it keeps going up that much.
But, Brandon, that increase, I believe, is what we talked about, and it is covered under 46,7,500.
That is correct.
Okay. So that line has a minimal increase because we projected some overage in it from the prior year, and hopefully that'll help cover it. I think the only other one, Brandon, is where we moved from furniture and fixtures up to computer supplies.
Yes, we had a capital equipment furniture line that had $1,000 in it. I almost never use that, and I don't really expect to, so we just moved that $1,000 up to the supplies and computers.
At some point in the discussion about a new facility, I'm sure we'll need to engage IT.
Oh, sure, yeah.
If I don't know if,
I would imagine the design, I mean, like we talked about this prior, I think actually it's down in Franklin Street, that now the code is like 2 outlets and 2 connectivities, and I mean, they put more than you can imagine in a map. But yeah, certainly, probably especially once we get the design and we start concentrating on specific office needs, where they're gonna be, that should definitely include, IT.
because if we're going to put heavier technology usage in that building, which potentially we will, we're gonna have to have the electrical contractor take that into consideration. If we've got a conference room and we're gonna do, basic computers, that's one thing, but if we're doing cameras and screens and whatnot.
Yes, again, that's when we get down to the details of the individual rooms and start, chipping away at.
Yeah, I know if we're talking like a new jail, we would have to talk about internet connection probably back to here. I would probably need a server room and rack space and all of that. So yeah, it'll be a pretty in-depth process and conversation for the IT side.
Well, I want to put some of those down in notes and send to myself and the sheriff, just for at least initial review. We'll go from there.
Yeah, I will absolutely do that.
And I'm sure these guys who are doing the modular system have run into this, so they might be able to provide you some historical data that could be helpful as you look at what your needs are.
Yeah, that'd be super beneficial as well.
One or two of these calls, you could be.
Oh, absolutely, going forward, see.
All right, so at this point, do we have any questions for IT on their budget proposal?
And I didn't quite hit it with the prior 2 presentations, although EMA actually has a substantial capital plan in there. But just This one's a little more simplified, is where you see the numbers plugged in from the beginning balance. There are annual amounts. IT is a little more static, you know, for example, if you rotate all computers in 5 years, roughly 35,000 per year. So in the end, the goal here is in this plan is to get the numbers as close to possible, and then looking down and see how we look for the future. And at this point, it looks like there's a little bit of a surplus if all this comes into fruition and works out as planned, and in 29, that will just roll over and continue the next cycle. But each year you see that number go down. So at some point, as you work this, you know, it could be later years, if year 5 turns out with a deficit, we're gonna have to back up and probably start with that current year going forward with additional
But this is in line with what we've talked about for strategic plan.
Yep, and what I've now also asked for are, an inventory listing of computers, when they were purchased, and this goes for all items, when they were purchased, the number of years of expected life expectancy, which should equal the disposition and replacement year, and the replacement value that will tie back to this.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Yes. All right, anything further?
I don't.
Take this one under advisement. Thanks for your work on this, Frank.
Great, thank you so much.
HR, item, now K, right?
Okay,
Okay,
If we inserted
yep,
the sheriff.
sheriff, it was I.
yes, yeah, we can do an H1, H2, H1, I don't know what's about.
Take us through your wellness center policy.
Yes, so, this does not require the commissioners to sign it, just more of an approval or acceptance of it, so that the wellness committee can put it into motion. At our last couple of meetings, we've looked through our policy, and it has not been updated in a handful of years.
How does that shock us?
It was very shocking. One of the things that we've discovered is historically the county, we have our gym facility on Franklin Street, and you either had to be an employee with or without health insurance to use the facility, or your family members that are qualified for insurance had to be on the county's insurance to be able to use the facility.
Okay.
This has posed a few problems in the past where we have an employee who's not on our insurance because they're covered elsewhere, and then have family that want to use the gym, but that wasn't permissible. Especially even for just the use of showers when there's power outages and things. And I have made some exceptions for the use of the showers. However, it had been told to me that we couldn't allow a non-covered family member to use the facility because it was a Cigna rule. And so I talked to Cigna, and if it ever was a rule with Cigna, it is no longer a rule. So we would like to update the policy in a few different capacities here. One thing we want to do is explicitly disallow the use of gym chalk, the white chalk to prevent sweat when you're lifting. We have some signs posted, but some people are not following that, and the chalk is leaving residue on machines and in the treadmill treads, and it's hard to clean.
So are they using powder?
It's a powder.
Instead? Well, I mean, so you said,
I mean,
yeah,
Whatever it is, it's a.
right, any sweat deterrent, powder that you might,
right.
this is not Ninja Warrior competitions, we don't need to.
Well, you shouldn't have to identify the differences, but I can,
Right.
I've been around long enough to know people, you said chalk, but this is baby powder.
Well, and I'm happy to include chalk or other,
Yeah, right.
material,
Right.
whatever is appropriate, but we feel like we have to put it in policy now because it's becoming more of a problem for the custodians. But also Mary Ann's had to have the machine serviced a few different times, and the technician has noted some of this chalk is getting in the machines. So that's one change that I think is quite minor. The other change would be to allow family members that are not on county health plans be allowed to use the facility, as long as they would be an eligible covered member, right? Like I can't have my sister come in. She's not qualified to be on my insurance if she if she was or whatever. So that would be, the big change here is allowing those family members to have access as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we had a previous age cap of 18 or older. And to be more consistent with public gym facilities, hotel gyms and things, we'd like to open it up to teenagers, high school students, ages 14 to 18, as long as they have parental supervision when they're in the facility. A lot of students in the area are in sports and other athletics, and they want to maintain a level of athleticism that allows them to achieve Cooper flag status. I heard that mentioned earlier.
We can't stretch them.
So opening it up to them as long as they have the supervision is another request of the wellness committee. And
What kind of supervision?
it has to be the parent, so either our employee or the employee's spouse. Who would be, it can't just be a random adult that wants to babysit.
They would have to be physically there working out with them and, okay.
Yep,
Did you check on the insurance aspect? I know you did,
I
hear
have
back?
emailed them and I haven't heard back to make sure that is
Yeah,
okay with
that was one of
risk
the-
pool insurance.
Yeah.
That would be determinate.
Yeah, I would agree, yep. And then, one thing that the wellness committee was looking to do, but I can see, the pros and the cons here, so this is definitely something I'm leaving on your table, is for family members that are not covered on our health plan, if they wish to use the facility, that they pay a $25 annual membership fee, which would help maintain the machines and go into the wellness committee fund. We get a lot of money from Cigna for wellness committee. It's not the revenue is needed, but we thought if there was a little bit of ownership to it, they would also help take care of it. I think that summarizes all the changes.
There are outside benefits too, but aside from Cigna. So that, go back to the original, one of the original points was, yes, this was, and this is why this existed. I don't know if you remember Commissioner Trumbull from the early stages. Cigna put a lot of money into that facility at the very beginning. And folks felt that, and then the commission agreed at that time that you needed to be on the policy in order to use it. Even back then, I didn't really fully agree, but I mean, I wasn't even just the administrator then. But I think there are other benefits to that. If somebody is working out, they're healthier. They're gonna show up to work more likely. More likely to be productive, or a little bit more productive at work. So, yeah, I guess I'm still stuck on, I think it should be open to any county employee.
And I think that's where you go with the new policy change, so.
I think this does open,
Yes, it opens it significantly.
Right, but they have to pay a $25 fee, right?
Just a spouse, not the county employee. If you're a
No.
county employee and you're not in health insurance, you can still use it.
Right,
It's
if
just
it's
if it's a spouse.
Family members that are
family
not
member,
covered.
that's not- Yeah, it's not on the plan.
But a non-covered family member
Right.
that could use it for a fee.
Like $2.
Oh, okay, I guess I see that, all right.
I don't think that's not,
Yeah,
that's
And I
not
don't
much.
think that would
It's
break the
nominal, it's a
wellness
nominal
committee.
fee, yeah.
We just thought that perhaps if they paid a very nominal fee,
Right.
which if you've seen gym memberships,
Oh,
this
my
is
God.
nothing, that it might just give them the incentive to take care of things and clean up after themselves.
And there's nobody in that, like if a kid shows up at 17, the parent, who supervises it? Police isn't nobody, right? It's just the honor system.
It is.
And what about, it says the first time you use it, you have to go through an orientation. Who does the orientation or something?
We could send the wellness committee down there on the SRT team.
We do, I mean, there are cameras down there, and so if there was a report of suspicious
All right, you
activity,
can check it out.
we can check it without having to physically go down there. But no one's gonna sit there checking IDs. It is gonna be an ownership scenario.
Okay. So do we need action on this?
I think it is your call, unless you wanna wait for Malcolm with the risk pool to make sure we don't have an insurance issue first.
Well, let's wait till we.
Which might be wise.
yeah, let's bring this back on the 24th.
But then you have any
Issue
other
would be
feedback?
on the people under 18.
I think the teenagers, yeah,
Liability
like,
issue,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm okay approving it, subject to that, getting him approving that provision.
What is the policy about school-age children, like 10 and under, with their parents?
we talked about that in wellness committee, and the committee as a whole was just not in favor of anybody. I think 14 to 18
Okay.
was as comfortable as
More in
we
line
could
with
get.
my thinking.
Yeah, even 14, 15.
I don't want to see it going the other way.
Depending on the
Right, I
individual,
mean,
but.
we were thinking more high school because of athletics and kids wanting to, you know, get football ready and,
Yep.
and basketball and track and things like that.
Yeah, we wait till we hear from Malcolm and then we can, either way.
Okay. So I think we're receptive, we'll just save the vote until you get that information,
Yeah.
if that's helpful.
And I think moving forward, I've noticed this actually in other procedures, but if the commission's gonna take a vote on it, then I think it should have a signature page, if not just a reference, when you go back for it. Yeah, signature and the date, even if it's just a chair or whatever.
Scott, I believe you now have the chance to present your budget.
Yeah, so I'll just let you know that I was told that the people that present their budget first had some kind of reward, so I
I think you were.
That's what the administrator said.
Thank
The
you,
reward was
first,
that
we've already exhausted first. Yeah.
First day,
Yeah,
so,
I did the easy one first, so I could, yeah.
That's true, right?
You'll probably be scoring some good deeds up in heaven.
would you like me to go to every line or just the ones that have significant change?
I think probably, from my standpoint, since we're taking this under advisement,
Yeah, this,
the changes is probably,
yeah,
Okay,
because we'll obviously augur into this later on as we see just how big it gets.
I will start with the things that are highlighted in yellow. I assume you have color as well.
Yeah.
So the first thing that's highlighted is a part-time payroll line. I've had a 30-hour-a-week person since December of '23. She has now gone and taken a position in the DA's office. And as a result of the hope to have an HRIS, I am reducing this to a 20-hour-a-week position for half the year next year, so July to December. I do foresee the need to have coverage for sick time and vacations, as well as just some coverage during open enrollment and things like that that are kind of busy. But I don't foresee the need to have the level of HR clerical I've had in the past.
So what is it now? How many hours is it currently?
30.
30,
And I'm-
full year?
Yep.
And you're going to 20 half year?
Mhm.
And that's savings of 14 plus?
Correct.
The other shoe hasn't dropped yet.
I do foresee the HRIS taking a lot of efficiencies and making them better. Obviously, this would give me about 6 months to evaluate how efficient and the need. Would this position ever become a year-round 20-hour position? That is a possibility, but again, without having a system in place, it's kind of hard to tell you what that looks like. But I do think half year next year is appropriate.
In the past, HR had provided us with kind of a summary report of how many slots were open. Maybe an update of that would be helpful.
Countywide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you've got that in your system because you provided that to us.
I have, and I haven't done it for the last couple of months, but I will update it. There's been
Not
so
sure we
many
need it
moving
monthly,
targets.
When we get into the budget, it would be interesting to do as the budget prep has given us actuals for '24 and budget for '25, if we had '23, '24, because I think you've done a commendable job in stabilizing some of the departments that have had significant deficiencies in positions. So you've heard a lot of positive there, and I think it would be helpful to look at this because while the hours may not have gone down significantly for the department, the allocation of your hours may have.
Yes. Yep, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
I won't touch on the employee benefits because what change there is based on either salary or time, so there's not a lot of flex there anyway. And it's a decrease, so that's just good for you. Services, this is where the big increase comes from. There's a $200 a year Power DMS license fee that's within there, but the majority of that, 54, is the HRIS system, including a $16,825 one-time implementation fee. I know that the administrator has some thoughts about finding funding for that piece elsewhere in the budget, so that might be able to be reduced by about $17,000 if that's a possibility. And then annually, it would be between 28 and 32-ish a year for the maintenance of the HRIS. And
This integrates with iSolve.
correct, it is iSolve, yes. So there are some other components of the HRIS that will be budgeted within the finance budget because they relate to the payroll function of HR. So this is a portion of the total system.
Questions on that? I think you explained it well, and there are some potential cost savings that may derive from other parts of the overall
Yes.
budget.
Yes, and while we're just here, I had planned on giving you RFP for approval for the insurance broker today. However, you saw the significant number of packets. We're still reviewing, so we've reached out to the vendors, and we'll bring it back on the 24th for approval. But looking at what, just the numbers, I do foresee there to be a savings of between 100, well, 70 to 100,000 a year on the broker. Certainly enough to cover the additional HRIS that would kind of take the place of that. So I think.
Will there be expanded duties for HR if we go this route?
Even doing just a limited broker relationship, nothing more than we're already doing. And what we're doing now will be better effectively tracked in an HRIS system and managed a lot digitally, which take a lot of paperwork and time down. So while there may be more tasks, I think they'll be much more streamlined and efficient.
Yeah, it definitely should. If the system is used as it should be, I mean, this is one of the directions, right along with Al. You know, we need to go with technology. Even if you wanted to, even if everybody came back to work, there still aren't enough people to work to fill the jobs. And that's just gonna get worse as we move forward. So again, this is sort of one of those collaborative regionalization efforts within the county itself where we rely on technology to help us, to help the same number of people do more and more effectively.
There is another increase there on the employee assistance program, the EAP. And that's only because Northern Light increased their rates to $16.05 per quarter. It was a little over $15.50 last year, so there's a slight increase there. The next section that has highlights are travel, and the change here is really because the HR department, for the last couple of years anyway, has not done a whole lot of training or traveling to training. We now have staff that are trying to grow. I know that Jen is trying to advance her HR career, which means she needs some certifications to get SHRM certified and things like that. So I have increased the mileage, a few $100s, as well as the meals and the lodging. The HR conference is a week, and the Commissioners' Convention is usually at least an overnight somewhere. So the $600 does not go very far on that.
Didn't we, I know this has always been part of this budget, unless I'm wrong, but didn't we create a fund at the county to pay for
We're continuing education, yeah.
So that's separate, gonna be a separate thing from these?
Yeah, well, here you're covering the travel costs, which I
Okay,
guess
so
you
that
could
fund
handle
more
as
for
well, but-
registration and stuff like that?
This is
Like
more
for
professional
classes,
development as
yeah,
opposed to
seminars.
scholarships and continuing ed.
Right, yeah.
Okay. At least that's kind of how I differentiate it. Somebody's for the benefit of the county, directly benefiting professional development. I think it falls into a different line than continuing ed, where they're continuing the education, but it's more discretionary as opposed to this is more of a necessary component.
Yeah, and the other would be more like a certificate or possibly even a
Certification.
diploma certification, some, yeah, associate's degree.
Like the IMA has the certified management.
The next line that's highlighted are the dues and fees. This is increased dues for the SHRM for 2 HR professionals and dues to the main local HR group for 2 professionals.
Okay.
Registrations and trainings I've increased. slightly for both. Some of our career fairs are now charging a registration fee, which right now we really don't have any budgeted funds, and so I've been a little creative at trying to get us into some of these career fairs, as well as the annual chamber awards dinner that we tried to get some big county support this year. So I've increased to kind of cover those additional fees that we're seeing. And then the training itself, I have increased $500, again, specific to the HR department, and the growth of a new HR department is, approximately 5 years old. To get everybody up to a good base level. And these aren't college courses, these are usually the local HR, state HR groups that are having certificate classes.
Okay. So overall, 14.63.
It's a good year.
Yeah. Of course, a significant portion of that is
Is the
the
HRIS.
HRIS, yeah.
I did increase the food for meetings for our lunch and learns. Costs are going up and it's getting a little bit more expensive to try to feed a group of 20 or 30 people 4, 5, 6 times a year, so.
Any further questions for HR?
I did try to throw a capital budget together to get a new vehicle, to get a Hummer actually, I think is what I sent Scott, but
As long as it's electric, I think.
You got a new vehicle for what?
for HR, he said that was not gonna happen, so.
HR vehicle. Maybe, if you need something, maybe you can use that tank that we're not gonna get from the
I think the exact
You know what
response
they can
was,
do? They can go to the gym, work out while buying a bicycle.
oh, wow.
Yes.
electric bike?
No, pedal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, somebody
That's
is
even cheaper.
definitely in a mood, yeah.
Okay, before things go further,
I won't finish my
So
statement.
no, that 14.63, and I think given the system itself,
Yeah.
it's quite a modest increase. I know it's a lot in the big picture, but
it's obviously been.
Which one was that, Tony? What was the last one?
overall, the overall was 14.63 increase.
Yeah.
Well, it's 54.9 is the.
Yes, the big line is the computer programming.
Yeah, I saw that. Excuse me. Oh. Other services. Yeah, what's ISOL again?
That's the payroll system, which is also the
What does
pending.
ISOL stand for?
That's the name of the company.
It's just their name,
That's
it's
the
not an
name of the
acronym.
Like
I
Mark.
thought it was an
I think when they get a problem, I solved it.
Yeah.
Oh, one of them.
We
We
Yeah,
are,
we are.
the crowd is laughing, I wouldn't.
I think it's CMI solved is the call.
Yes.
And we
I saw that, I thought that was an acronym, I go, I
No.
recognize.
I did too for a while, and it's
I use
just,
it down one shot.
You're the one that let it get out of hand early, I just was.
Well,
Oh,
certain
I did.
Okay, so, put on my Peter hat,
Yeah,
almost quarter up. Anything further for HR,
On the animal.
other than our thanks for her presentation? Okay, thank you. Administrative,
All right.
now L.
so a couple of reminders, one is the convention coming up. 28th to the 20th, how about the 18th?
Yeah. Well, I had the
Good thing.
81st,
Yep.
so.
Good thing I'm watching. PCHC groundbreaking, it's on, I believe it's Tuesday the 16th.
That's the day before, right?
Yep. It's on the Tuesday, the golf is Wednesday, and then the convention is Thursday and Friday, into Saturday.
Yeah.
I still don't have a time, an exact time on the groundbreaking, but I think the last meeting, the treasurer was talking about possibly attending. Maybe Commissioner Trumbull, were you? Okay, yeah, and Wendy, I think Wendy was gonna represent us.
Right, Danny?
What's that?
Bangor taxpayers. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we figured you might be over there in a dual role or something, but yeah. Didn't know if we wanted to have any discussion on the new corrections facility meeting with Hamden. Probably set, but I think we'll set that maybe for the 24th and get an update, see where we're going.
I think we shared
Get all
with
parties
them an
together.
understanding that we were waiting on some information and we cleared up some questions.
Yeah,
I've got a question on the 17th, we did cancel and reschedule the commission for the 24th, right?
yes,
Okay, because I
Yep.
still had it on the 17th on this one.
Yeah, the 17th is the important golf day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, I'm playing like crap, so.
That starts in the morning, right?
Noon time, I think, 11 o'clock is barbecue.
Well, you've got a caddy, David?
Huh?
Are you gonna play? You gonna caddy, you gonna play, you gonna?
Well, I hadn't, I thought we, I don't know, I have to look at it out, that's open. I'm
Show
looking
up,
at
be
the night
ready.
before.
You never know, you might get called from the bullpen.
Before you go, I just have
I
a
can bring my sticks, throw
budget
them in the
committee
truck,
meeting
just in
question.
case.
So,
Budget, oh,
You're
yeah.
coming down.
will you point out, is there a
Well, I was
budget
coming down,
that each district gets together? Do you elect
Wednesday, but I was
someone?
gonna,
Those are
I was
the
gonna
caucuses,
leave.
so.
The caucus, yeah.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, I think it's every 2 years you have the caucus, because it's a
Yeah.
2-year, we had it last
so
year.
if that's not.
It's a 2-year
So,
appointment.
the E, the people that were elected to the caucus. we-
Exactly.
Unless you want lunch, then you'll have to leave at 8 in the morning.
So, the E's, I've got,
Well, they're
Lunch
gonna
is
have,
11.
a barbecue lunch there, aren't you?
all the people in Bangor have
No,
to be
we're having
reappointed.
box lunch now.
But
Because they
there's
don't
somebody that
have
was elected.
facilities at
to
the
be
golf
reappointed.
course.
I'm
It's
gonna
a
vote
box
on that.
lunch, not a barbecue.
If it was
You need to take care of
elected,
those
it
other
should have
people.
been.
And
Should be
send
for
them
2
an
years.
email.
But Kara's gonna be off the council.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Once you
then,
get me the
in that
email
case,
address,
yes,
you
you get to fill
Okay,
that.
so I'm
Yeah.
not Joe Carey, so I'm gonna put 3 people on the,
Yep.
on my,
Yeah, that's the other thing, is to make sure you get your budget committee members together.
Yep.
Yep, I'll send more out about that later, but while
This is
Commissioner
the
Trumbull's talking
election year,
about it.
right?
No, we did that last year.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is,
We
I'll
just
have
need
to get together
confirm
these
the
ones
people
too.
that we
Right.
had appointed are still
Right.
eligible and.
Right.
and
so we only deal with one appointed or two? I mean,
You got 3.
I've got 3 appointed, but from different communities and stuff.
Right,
Well, you have, we only elect 1? Yeah.
no, anybody got it in front
Yeah,
of
one of
them?
them was
there's 2 are elected from each district.
So that's right, because you got 5, that's right, yes, 2 are elected, yeah,
2
you
are
did.
appointed, 2 are elected, and then you appoint the legislator.
Right,
Yeah.
You've lost your legislator, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Maybe you could get
he's
the
the
member
treasurer,
of
that doesn't
the
count,
appropriations
it's
committee to
even,
come.
it's even higher.
So when do we need to make those appointments?
You should, I can
By
send
next
you,
month.
update you, but probably the sooner the better, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
I
Yeah,
know
just
I'm gonna,
verify with them,
I'm gonna check with
yeah.
my people.
And hopefully they're not up for election this year. If they are, that might,
Oh, that happened in Lincoln line.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Will you be
And I
asking?
called,
I'll put Wayne on it.
Wayne on it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
all right,
I was thinking,
Yeah, I'm-
get Joe.
Good job. Oh, yeah, Joe could do it too.
He's been.
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna meet with Melissa. Did you have a time? Must be, she already here. Can we walk in?
Are we buying lunch?
I wasn't sure what she didn't act like she was interested in. I don't think she wanted to hang out with us.
Yeah. She outside?
So I've been waiting to draft up the letter before I'll talk to her before I draft up the letter that I was gonna have you review. Answer her phone.
But she's coming in, you coming?
what do we got left here?
I think we have to approve the,
Maybe we didn't finalize it. I thought we had.
What do we need to do? What's left to do?
we're going to vote on the,
Warrants. We're gonna run warrants.
Warrants.
And anything else other than that?
No, so I'll draft up a letter. Anyways, we can get that going. I'll draft up a letter and send it out to you just to,
Well, don't forget that you're talking about the one, honoring our.
no, I need to do that as well. So, you know, 2
What was the other
letters.
one you're talking
The
about?
other one is the one that we need to communicate with our municipal leadership with regards
Oh,
to.
yeah, right, okay, so you've got
the
both
impact
those
of the
letters.
budget, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so we may need to hop in the car and go up there.
Okay.
You call Bradley and see. Because the last part of the email was your dates aligned with mine, and then we didn't. I may have dropped the ball on that.
I think the last I read from her was that she'd meet us here, but we might not have acknowledged that, so.
Before you go, I'll take a motion on approving the warrants.
What item is that now?
That would be
M.
K, M, thank you.
I move we approve the warrants under item M of today's agenda.
Second?
I have a motion second, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Anything else to come before the commission?
I don't believe so, Chair.
I don't have anything.
I move we adjourn.
Hi, this is Andre Cushing, is Melissa available? So, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, get a
So
second.
moved.
Voted, let's have it.
I
Hi,
need
this
to
is Andre, how are you?
all in favor? Aye.